Yo, hello, hello, hello. Alright, let me just pop on over. Hi, hi. How's everyone? This stream was not even slightly planned at all. Welcome. Yes, so the context, because the context is weak as all hell. Basically, I was walking home because I went to a really cool show tonight, and I'm totally gonna probably yip your ears off about that for a bit fast. And I was like, man, I really want to read The Third Wheel Strikes Back at people because then they'll understand how cool it is. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to do that when I get home. Let me just wriggle around a little bit. Okay, so my rigging might feel a little bit weird. And that's just mostly because I'm using webcam tracking, which I don't know how I feel about it. It's like I'm so used to like V-bridger tracking that like the model just feels weird when it moves. Let me see if I can tweak it a little bit. Let's see. Like point one and like I don't know. Alright, that seems a little bit better. Maybe like point two. Yeah, no. just like making random noises to like repair the model a little bit. Okay, alright, that'll have to do. Yeah, so like yesterday I kind of did an impromptu I was just playing around with the model, and I duplicated it. Don't worry, I haven't murdered my settings. So I duplicated it and I tried to make it fit with the webcam. So yeah, be warned, it just might feel weird. It feels like weird, not, I guess, like going over the top and setting everything up like I usually do, because like usually like setting up for stream is like it's an adventure. usually yeah. Alright, give me a moment. Oh my god, what is with this mouse? You can tell this is like mega scuff. No thought required, am I right? It's kind of like, hey, okay, that should hopefully make the mouth move a little bit better. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so, it's still my birthday, and I will still be birthday boy for 2 hours. And yeah, so I had a pretty cool day today, honestly. I slept in till like 10:30 a.m. because after stream last night we went into the Discord and everyone gave me the coolest prezzies, and it was really cool. That's the worst description, oh my god. But yeah, like Ghosty and Ace got together and wrangled y'all beautiful, wonderful denizens, and y'all created this like really cool, like, what's a good word for it? Canva? I don't want to call it a PDF. And I don't want to call it like a presentation, but like a Canva thing. And it was so cool. It was full of like really funny messages and really sweet messages. And I have saved it on my computer and I will save it forever. And that was incredibly sweet. Thank you guys so much. You're the best. You're the best. Okay, Kanekos was really funny. It's just a picture of Junjo Romantica and I'm like, the audacity, bitch. Yes. And of course, hi Gusty, hi Puffer, hi Battle, hi Lex, hi Nix, hi Nozmi, hi Nova. And thank you for the happy birthdays. I truly appreciate it. Also, it was Ace's idea. Well, still, you set it up, so I appreciate that. Appreciate Ace for thinking it, and appreciate you for helping execute it as well. Yeah, so I had a pretty chill day, and I went out. I took myself out to Dindin's. I went to my favorite little Japanese place because they have taiyaki, and taiyaki is, I will have you know, delicious. Thank you very much. And so I went and got some taiyaki, and then I went to see Curtis Connor, the YouTuber. He's doing a tour in Australia at the moment, and I got a ticket. I got one of those like reseller tickets, so I didn't quite realize how close to the front I was until I got there. And it was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. Gotcha. And yeah, and so like after that, I kind of, you know, waddled on home, and on my way home, I was like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, why not? Let's just do like a random impromptu stream. And to anyone curious as to why the fuck we're in the ASMR category of all places right now, it's because I googled, is storytelling technically ASMR, and Google said yes. So apparently reading stories counts as ASMR. That's what Google said, so I was like, okay, I'm just following Lord Google's orders. We read in book, yes. So what I'm going to be doing is I will be reading the, I guess like however many chapters until death occurs, for me, of The Third Wheel Strikes Back, which is the story I was talking about last time. You can share a link to the manhwa, absolutely. I'm going to be reading the novel, mostly because I found that when I was reading the Greatest Estate Developer manhwa last time, I don't know, it was one of those things where I think if I had like if I was doing it as a collab, it would have been a lot easier, but like, I just kind of ran out of voices to come up with, but because there wasn't pros breaking it up, it just got like, it would have understandably got a bit convoluted towards the end. Whereas reading a novel directly, it's kind of all of the sentences are broken up by prose, Basically, it'll be easier on me. And also, the manhwa is very fruity. Please read it, you will love it. The novel that the manhwa is based on somehow is fruity-er, but in the same vein of fruity. So it's like the manhwa didn't cut anything out. It's just when you read the novel, the context, like, it's like one thing to see like the other characters simping for Jesse and it going over his head. It's another thing to be in Jesse's head and watch him simp for the other characters and still have it go over his head. He is the kind of character who will think something and not even notice he has thought it. Just his own thoughts go over his head sometimes. Brilliant. So yes, so that's why I'm going to be reading this, because this is just the story my brain's been all like, about. So yeah, I'll be reading the translated novel. Alright, so feel free to get comfy, get some nibbles, get some sips, do whatever you want to do, and by the lore of Google, let us commit some gayasura. Oh my god, Ghosty. Thank you for the resub, I appreciate it. Well, think of it this way, Ghosty. This month you can get a Jessie picture. That's like that's like the bonus. Every other month it's a Lloyd picture, but this month it's Jessie. Hi, Lasty. How you doing? How you doing? Alrighty. Num. Let's get into the goodness. The Third Wheel Strikes Back. Chapter 1. A Person's Crash Landing. Part 1. Because it's a light novel. Oh yes, gonna give you a heads up, I'm gonna butcher every Korean name that comes up in this. There are only about 2 or 3, but I will still butcher everyone regardless. I deeply apologize in advance. Zhongyunxiu! I jerked out of bed while shouting that name. I don't usually talk in my sleep, so I don't know why I called out my younger sister's name like that. I woke up in such an odd way, but my body felt refreshed. It doesn't look like I had a nightmare or slept in a weird position. Your Highness. No, gee. Holy shit, that scared me. My shoulders fringed. I turned towards the sound of the voice and saw an unfamiliar person there. I'm sorry. Who are you? And why are you in my house? Did you sleep well, Your Highness? Excuse me? It was not just one person. People I didn't know with different skin colors, hair colors, and eye colors were standing there looking at me. Someone had what seemed like a shiny basin. Someone else was holding a white cloth next to him. And another person. Breakfast is in 1 hour, Your Highness. Shall we brush your teeth and wash your face? Excuse me? Excuse me is the only thing people can say when they are truly shocked. The only thing I can think of was, excuse me, as well. I had no idea what was going on. Oh, maybe is it some kind of hidden camera? Did Yun-Se contact a TV network to do this to me? My mind was trying its best to figure out what was going on. I guess you're not truly fully awake yet, Your Highness. That is true, I guess. You're probably still fatigued from your journey. It is a normal affair, such a long trip, Your Highness. Journey? What is he talking about? Do TV shows go this far for hidden cameras these days? It was extremely detailed for someone like me, who only went to work and came home, to understand. Where is Yun-Se? Is she in another room watching me? Could you please tell me where this is? I slowly opened my mouth as calmly as possible. I didn't have many things I could ask. I quickly looked around and it was not my room or our living room. I was in a room that was the size of our whole house, on a bed that was as big as my friend's studio room, with extremely expensive looking furniture all around. What is that on the wallpaper? Oh, there's no way it's real gold. Right? You must be extremely tired, Your Highness. The middle-aged man, who had been the first to speak to me, responded in an official voice. He motioned to someone standing next to him, and a young boy quickly poured water into a clear glass and handed it to me. Would you like a glass of water to help clear your mind, Your Highness? Thank you very much. I didn't think much of it and drank about half the cup. I then realized how stupid I had been. Wait, why did I drink that? No, what if it wasn't water? Did I get abducted? Hi, Wamba Spears. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. And welcome. To make it clear, it was just regular water. And this was not an abduction, nor a television program. It was body possession. Ah. The face I saw in the water as I washed my face was someone else's face. And the fact that I managed to get past it only saying, "Ah, was a miracle." I was actually jumping up and down and screaming internally, and my palms were getting sweaty. Shall we get you dressed, Your Highness? Yes, sir. I responded after finishing washing my face and brushing my teeth. Even an elementary student would not do anything weird to cause suspicions or throw a tantrum about wanting to go home in this situation. I could use the fact that I wasn't fully awake as an excuse earlier, but not now. The important thing was to figure out my current situation and come up with a plan. Excuse us, Your Highness. 2 young attendants walked over and started to change my clothes. The normal me wouldn't have let random people touch me like this, but I was so shocked that I just quietly let them do it. MCs in novels, where they get transported into a different world possessing a character's body, like my situation, always talk about how it was too realistic to be a dream. Yeah,
Yeah, it really was like that. I didn't need to pinch my cheeks to know that this was definitely real. The feeling of the clothes touching my skin and the rustling of the clothes as I moved were both extremely vivid. Is anything uncomfortable, Your Highness? The royal tailors made it while referencing the Holy Kingdom's casual wear from the palace.
Oh, it fits perfectly. Thank you. I touched my shoulders and chest once before gathering clues in my mind. Based on the layout of the room and the people's clothes, this was a medieval fantasy world. I removed the web novel I was reading yesterday, quote unquote, I thought I died, but I was a conqueror from the list of potential options. That was a novel about how the MC woke up in the body of an ancient Roman emperor. Here is a mirror, Your Highness. The middle-aged man had some attendants bring a large full-body mirror over so that I could take a look. I quietly gasped. I was only able to tell that this body was not mine when I was washing my face earlier. Would I be able to tell where I am if I knew what I looked like? Do you like it, Your Highness? I was tall and handsome, with blonde hair and purple eyes. I smiled and could see the corners of my mouth rising in the mirror. A young man that everybody would definitely say was handsome was looking back at me. What the hell? Yes. Thank you very much, sir. I just said whatever came to mind. Forget liking the clothes. Someone this handsome is probably the main character. But most of the novels I've read had MCs with black hair. I've never seen an MC with blonde hair. That meant that I was probably a supporting character. Whether it be the MC's close friend, party member, or even a mid-level boss the MCs defeat along the way. Man, I don't even know how I'm going to get back home. I hope I don't need to play an important role. Then shall we head for breakfast? I will lead the way, Your Highness. I just nodded my head. I took one more look at the me in the mirror before starting the walk. Is he about my height? Huh? Oh. I saw it before. Your Highness? Sorry, it's nothing. I brushed it off and followed the middle-aged man. The attendants followed behind me. I gathered my thoughts while walking past an extremely large window with a view of a vast garden. Okay, so, first, the body I am in is a prince from the Holy Kingdom. Okay, he looks oddly familiar, but I can't tell who it is. Okay, I've yet to hear the prince's name or the name of the Holy Kingdom. Alright, and I don't know why I'm visiting this place either. Then again, this place has an imperial palace, so it must be an empire with an emperor. But I don't know its name either. This way, Your Highness. The middle-aged man opened the door to the dining room and led me over to a large table before pulling the chair out for me. What would you like to drink, Your Highness? We have an assortment of coffee beans from the south and tea leaves from the north. This middle-aged man, who had been leading the discussion from the moment I woke up, introduced himself as Benjamin Girardin. I am not worthy, but I am in charge of the attendants here in Juliet Palace. He had said that as well, but his name and the name of the palace were both new to me. Damn it. Could I have some kind of herbal tea, please? I remembered that I was in somebody else's body after saying that. My original body had a serious case of gastritis, so I couldn't really drink caffeine, alcohol, or even carbonated drinks. That's why I just said what I usually say when I go to cafes. But... wouldn't it be okay in this body? I even debated whether or not I should have asked for a cup of wine. I was careless. I understand. My response made Benjamin, who had maintained a poker face this whole time, crack a little bit. I peeked at the other attendants to see if I'd made a mistake somehow, but they had serious expressions for a different reason. Some looked as if they were shocked, while others looked amazed. Was a single cup of tea such a big issue?
Here's some chamomile tea, Your Highness.
Thank you very much. The attendants had quickly moved to bring me a steaming teapot and a teacup. Is the meal to your liking, Your Highness? Yes, it is delicious. It's seasoned perfectly. I wasn't lying. Freshly baked bread, extremely creamy soup, a dressing I had never tasted before, and an extremely fragrant meat dish with fresh fruit. My eyes were happy and my mouth was in heaven with this breakfast. I can enjoy myself without worrying, since I didn't think that the people who woke me up, washed me and dressed me would put poison in my food. I need to eat and fill my belly so that my mind works as well and provides the momentum for me to figure out a way to go home. Oh, you ate it cleanly, Your Highness. Benjamin said that as if it was unexpected. I snapped back to reality to see that I was scraping the bottom of the salad plate with my fork. I quickly put my fork down because, although I was from another world, even I knew that this was not proper etiquette. I guess I am really tired after travelling so far. I ate more than I usually do. Thank you very much for the meal. I used the information I gathered from Benjamin earlier to my advantage. I don't know how far it is from the Holy Kingdom to here, but someone from this world said it was a long journey, so it should be pretty far. Then, should I tell them not to bring out the desserts? No. There's a separate stomach for desserts. I had warm rhubarb tea and some egg tarts full of custard for dessert. The attendants must have wanted some as well, as they went, wow, and gasped when I bit into the third one. Oh, I'm so full. I could hear the attendants quietly laughing once I got back to my room and plopped down on the couch with the blanket Benjamin handed me. I never expected to, but I guess I really didn't give off a charismatic first impression. Your Highness, shall I get you a book to read? Yes, thank you very much. One of the attendants' kids asked, and I happily agreed. A book would be great. Anything was fine, as it would help me gather clues about this place. I debated whether I ended up in something other than a web novel, but I had a feeling that was not the case. I haven't read webtoons or comic books since I graduated high school. My family did watch movies and dramas, but nothing they watched recently had a setting like this. I haven't really read any textbooks since I was 20, and a musical seemed too far-fetched. I didn't even want to consider that I fell into a different world rather than someone's creation. Ugh. That meant that the only thing left was a web novel, but I couldn't figure out which one it might be since I've read so many of them on my way to and from work. What is next on our agenda? I asked Benjamin about today's plans. I inspected the decorations and any symbols I saw on the hallways to and from the dining area, but none of them were helpful. I'd never seen the crest and the ends of the spoons or knives either. I guess I need to be a little more assertive now. There are no plans, Your Highness. Wait. Yes, hello, Aston. Didn't he seem a bit awkward just now? Her Majesty ordered us to let you rest today as you arrived late last night. Oh, I understand. Then what does tomorrow's schedule look like? Awkward silence. Yeah, there's definitely something. There was a moment of break in this flawless butler-like character. On the other hand, my mind was slowly getting clearer. Am I resting all week? Yes, Your Highness. I think I'll be bored if I only stay in the palace. May I look around elsewhere? That last question almost came out of reflex. It was suspicious that a prince from another kingdom who was staying in the palace had no diplomatic things to attend. Benjamin's face looked quite distraught as he answered my question. I apologize, Your Highness, but that is not possible. Why not? He looked down not long after we made eye contact. If you're really frustrated, you should at least be able to take a walk in the garden. Well, that's a relief. Do you happen to know when I'll be returning home as well? Silence.
I see. This prince is imprisoned here. He was sent to a place far away from home and imprisoned in this empty palace. They treated him well, but he needed to ask the attendants before he even went on a walk. Then there was only one answer. Oh, I would like to walk right now to help with the digestion. I saw a garden through the window earlier and it was quite beautiful. I was a diplomatic hostage. I will deliver your request to my superiors. I nodded my head and Benjamin quietly informed one of the attendants. Go find Mr. Capucin in the Romero Palace and indicate that Prince Jersey requests to take a walk in the garden. I jumped up from the couch. I couldn't believe what I just heard. The shock made it hard to breathe. Jesse is my name. Well, kind of. End of chapter 1.
Yeah, as to coming over mid-go, like, hello, don't worry, he got chats. Oh yeah, this story makes you so hungry. This story makes you so hungry. Jesse loves his food. I leave. Chapter 2. A Person's Crash Landing. Part 2. I repeated my name, Jung Xiao, in my mind. Your Highness? Benjamin and the attendants looked towards me. I stood there, forgetting what I was going to say. A fictional character whose name is the same as mine, technically, that I know about. Oh. There was only Jesse Venetian. Ah! Everything suddenly turned white, and I got a headache. I felt as if all the blood was rushing out of my head. Your Highness! Are you okay, Your Highness? The young attendants became anxious as Benjamin shouted in shock. I barely managed to support myself using the armrest of the couch. I slowly sat down and looked up and noticed that the dizziness went away and I could see clearly again. I first needed some time to organize my thoughts. I looked at the concerned faces and smiled as if it was nothing. I think that trip really did take a toll. May I be alone for a bit? No wonder. I couldn't help but talk to myself as I sat there. No wonder it looked so familiar. This was not my first time looking at Jesse Venetian. Yun-Se had showed me so much fan art of this guy. Excuse me? A young attendant who brought my bag for me looked at me with eyes open wide. It was part of the stuff that the owner of this body, Jesse Venetian, had brought from the Holy Kingdom. I felt sorry for making this kid shocked and told him that it was nothing and to go rest as gently as possible. I watched the boy close the door before sitting on the ground and unpacking my things. How could he come so empty-handed? Well, he wouldn't bring a gift when he was coming as a diplomatic hostage, and there was no need to pack a lot of things since the people here were taking care of everything, including his outfits, but... Really? Did he have to pack so lightly? I even looked in the small pockets of the bag, but all I found in the prince's stuff was a small notebook and a few pairs of clothes he must have worn on his way over. There were no weapons, treasures, money, or anything. Or maybe the Empress already took it all. Hi-yo. I sat there with my legs crossed and opened the notebook. I hoped that they had written some things down on the way here, but unfortunately there wasn't a single drop of ink in the notebook. This lazy little punk. I went and shined some light on it, thinking that there might be some magic spells that I don't know about. Yep, that did absolutely nothing. I guess he's pretty chill about everything. I made a short observation about the prince before returning to the first page of the notebook. I needed paper to write down the things I knew anyway, so I might as well write it down here and keep it with me.
I sat down on the table and awkwardly picked up the quill pen. Some black liquid came out once I pushed the pen against the notebook, and I wrote the name of the novel I came into on top. I quit my job and ended up as a noble young lady in another world. I took a deep breath as I felt like my hand was shaking. Oh, Union So, what did you do? I mumbled my sister's name as I started writing down everything I remembered. ×3. Hi, Kroger. Thank you for the 5. Appreciate it. Welcome. Hi, Az. And yes, it's still my birthday. I appreciate the happy birthdays. You got in like last minute. I quit my job and ended up as a noble young lady in another world, aka QNW. It was a bestseller romantic fantasy novel that was extremely popular in Korea. The romantic fantasy genre is called RF for short, but QNW pretty much rewrote the history of RFs and was a super extra mega hit series that continued to achieve new record sales day after day. QNW was number 1 in the RF category on any platform with web novels, and it naturally took the top spot in the live, daily, weekly, and monthly best charts. Even people who didn't read RFs knew about the QNW title and its cover image. As the first ever novel in the RF world to reach the unprecedented height of being a million seller, it quickly expanded into other mediums. Its webtoon was the start, and it was so popular that Korean's top webtoon platform server went down before the first chapter was released. There are even talks about an animated series with a significantly high monetary investment. The QNW drama CD filled with major pop stars sold out 2 minutes after it started taking pre-orders, and the fans complained so much that they had to increase the production by 300%. They even took top actors and recently recorded an audiobook, which was where QNW's official OST was included. The MC's theme song was sung by a popular idol, and it easily reached the top position of the music charts. And how do I know all of this? Oh, I don't know whether I should be thankful or upset about this. My younger sister, Jung Yeon-seo, age 20, college student, is an obsessed fan of this work. No, obsessed might not be a strong enough term for her. But anyway, QNW came out the year Yeon-seo turned 19, so about January last year. And for Yeon-seo, who was on the edge of about being a senior in high school in March, QNW was a place for her to escape. QNW was her source of relief when she failed her practice test in June, and she claimed QNW gave her the strength to do well when she did fabulous on her practice test in September. And when she hit the jackpot with the college admissions test, I didn't even need to say anything. My life is a total novel. I mean it. How do I live when it ends? Yeon-seo is 9 years younger than me and 12 years younger than my older brother. My brother and I raised our younger sister as if she was our daughter, and Yeon-seo's storm-like QNW love swept us up like the numerous people handing out flyers for Jin on the streets. After I registered for my college courses, I had to keep the server open to pre-order the drama CD while my brother, who works at home, was tasked with the QNW OST. Yeon-seo strongly emphasizes that we need to help get the streaming count up. QNW was always a topic when we 3 siblings sat down to eat together. Yeon-seo would analyze the context of the daily chapter and even give almost a thesis about why the second male lead, Jesse Nishan, should be the male lead.
Craptrick is no good. He sinned against our Christelle again. She's meant to be with Jesse.
It was really awkward to hear Yeon-seo talk about a character with the same name as me at first, but as with all things, I eventually got used to it. He was just a character in a novel anyway. Is the male's lead's name's Craptrick?
Hyung, you asked about that last time too.
The fans call him Craptrick because his actions are really crappy. Yeon-seo had asked my brother and me to read QNW multiple times. My brother quit after reading about half of it, saying that it wasn't his kind of novel, and Yeon-seo was disappointed but didn't push him any further. As for me, last year I was busy quitting one job and applying for new jobs. Once I got hired, I needed time to get adjusted to the job, and I couldn't even read the 3 or 4 web novels that I was already reading. And Yeon-seo knew about my situation and didn't ask me to read it. And by the time she got into college, the QNW stuff slowly died down.
My brother often said that he enjoyed Yuncio talking about Q&W more than Q&W itself. So, I've never read Q&W myself, but I always agreed with him.
Yeah, that's right.
I was not a reader of Q&W.
Oh, damn it. How did I get transported into a book I didn't even read?
I can only scoff in disbelief. But now that I know that I am Jessie Venetian, I guess I can imagine why I've been transported into this body. Yuncio had been crying her eyes out after reading yesterday's chapter. She talked about how she felt numb, how she was going to send a letter to the author and caused all sorts of ruckus before saying she was going to sleep first and think about it in the morning. She went into her room before it was even 10 p.m. Jessie Venetian had died in the latest chapter. Is it a body possession and a regression? Seeing as how a dead guy was still alive, someone must have sent me to the past to save this punk. The reason someone random like me instead of a reader was transported probably has to do with my sister Yuncio. Wait a minute. Wouldn't it be better for someone like Yuncio who knows every detail inside and out to be here instead? Why did I get sent here? Yuncio was a fierce and independent girl. She would take care of things like this on her own instead of leaving it for my brother or me. Then Yuncio's sadness might be the reason for my coming here instead. But is there someone who actually sent me here? There's just no way to know. It seemed more complicated the more I thought about it. I decided to slowly do what I can for now and learn things one by one. I put my name, well, the name I would be called in this place, down on the notebook. And I recorded the few things I knew as well. Jessie Venetian, the body I am possessing, the second male lead of Q&W, Prince of the Holy Kingdom. Reasons unknown as to why I've been sent here as a diplomatic hostage and imprisoned inside Juliet Palace. Dies in a war in the future protecting the Imperial Crown Prince. I then wrote the MC's name underneath it. Christelle. What was her family name again? Sarkoji? No, that's not it. I don't think that's right. It wasn't easy to remember her family name because Yunzo usually just called her our child or our Chris. Christelle, the MC of Q&W, has long wavy pink hair and sky blue eyes, cute personality. A woman who quit her job ended up waking up as Christelle. The fact that she's called a young lady must mean that she's the daughter of a noble household. I remember her hair and eye colours because I frequently saw Q&W's cover. I remember the face of the man who was frequently holding her by the waist and protecting her from the side as well. What was Crabtrick's real name again? No, what was the male lead's name? No, it was a cool name fitting a male lead. Man, I just couldn't remember since my sister just called him Crabtrick all the time. I do know it starts with a C. Yeah, Crabtrick, the male lead of Q&W, the Empire's Imperial Crown Prince. Black hair and red eyes. Significant height difference with Christelle. I believe he's a sword master. His personality is said to be shit. I could remember that the male lead was the Imperial Crown Prince since Yuncio was always like, that punk is supposed to be the Imperial Crown Prince, but and complained a lot. I'm disappointed that I'm in this world without having read the novel, but I'm relieved that I've got my sister's ramblings to work off of at least. I hope I keep remembering things I heard from her. I then wrote down anything that came to mind. The things my sister said last night while crying, the things she said last week, and even the things she talked about when we went out to eat last month. It was smarter to jot them down now while I remembered them, since I might mix things up or forget them in the future. Writing it down made it easier to memorize as well. I filled a good number of pages before noticing that the sun was all the way up. And so I wrote down the last topic. My goal. If my suspicions were correct, I was transported into the past in this body so that I can save this guy from dying on the battlefield in the future. And there's only one way to save a punk who's supposed to die. Don't participate at all. There's only one way for a guy who's supposed to die in the Imperial Crown Prince's place to live as well, which is don't get involved with the Imperial Crown Prince. There should be many ways not to get involved with the Imperial Crown Prince, but in this novel, the core of the matter was that the Imperial Crown Prince and I were rivals for the same woman's heart. Yuncio said that Jesse Venetian saved the Imperial Crown Prince and died in his place for Christelle's happiness. So that is why not getting involved with the MC Christelle should increase my chances of survival as well. I stopped thinking about it and put down one last thing. My goal. Don't get involved with the MCs, main characters, and survive until the end so that I can go back home in one piece. Don't do anything to stand out, just quietly eat well and keep myself alive. Don't do anything that goes against my conscience, but do let others take care of things when possible. Be respectful to people above and below me. Well, it's pretty easy for a loner like me at least. It'd be the one thing if I had to inject in the two of their relationship, but I was more confident than everybody else in being completely unrelated to them. I had quite the confidence in doing that since I was #forever alone. End of chapter 2. Jesse's great, isn't he? Yeah, you gotta love those light note titles, right? Yeah. Poor boy. I am quite willing to suspect the only reason he's forever alone is because multiple people have flirted with him in his life and he hasn't noticed shit. I am convinced it's not that no one liked him. I bet many people liked him and he just never noticed shit. Just over time it'll become so apparent. Oh my god. Chapter 3. A Person's Crash Landing, Part 3. After organising my notebook all morning, I did some other stupid things since I finally had some time to myself. Status window. Of course, a half-transparent window or text did not appear in front of my eyes. I had wondered if I'd become someone like the main character in a game world or something, but the reality was so cold it was freezing. I became so embarrassed at myself that my cheeks and the area around my eyes all turned red. Yeah, I should just go eat. Yep. Your Highness, I brought you some books that you might enjoy. Her Majesty has also given you permission to go take a walk in the garden whenever you wish. Thank you very much, that is wonderful. After taking the same route as I did in the morning to eat lunch, the young attendant who brought me my bag in the morning brought over some books along with the good news. I thought that this child would leave quickly as well, since Benjamin and the other attendants had left me alone. But the boy hesitated as if he wanted something. Do you have something to say to me? That. The boy turned red and didn't seem to know what to do. He seemed to be about 14 years old. He had fluorescent sky blue coloured hair and his large gold eyes were memorable. My name is Ganael Calamard. I am Viscount Calamard's eldest son. My name is Jesse Venetian. It really was an unfamiliar name. It felt awkward just hearing him introduce himself, so I told him my name as well, and the boy smiled brightly as if he was less nervous now. Ganael quickly continued talking as he blushed. Your Highness, I don't think there's anyone in the Empire who does not know of your revered name. Everybody is curious about you, even though they don't show it. There are many devout believers in the Empire. It is a historic event that a royal priest from the Holy Kingdom has come to the royal palace. Wow, didn't I just get a chunk of information? I clenched my jaw that was trying to drop and did my best to look calm. I wanted to write down everything Ganael had just said into my notebook, but I could not do that. Devout believers, royal priest, historic event? Ganael continued to say that it was an unfortunate that he met me in such a situation, but it was an honor of the Calamard household for him to be able to serve me by my side. I guess he was saying that it was sad that I came as a diplomatic hostage, but he was really happy since I was right here.
It shocked me that such a talkative kid was able to maintain his emotions this morning. Ganile, could you tell me how old you are?
I turned 16 last February. I'm 12 years younger than you, Your Highness. My coming of age ceremony was a small one because I was preparing to come to the palace.
The boy smiled shyly as he rambled on. If he's 16, then that meant that he was 17 in Korean age.
Huh. Yeah, he looks much younger than that.
Wait a minute. If I'm 12 years older than this kid, then that means that I was 28 years old. And I'm 28 as well. So that meant that Jesse Venetian and I were the same age. Huh. Well, this was new information as well. Oh, you're working so hard in the palace despite being so young.
It's nothing, Your Highness. To be honest with you, I requested to work in the palace after hearing you were coming. The Viscount didn't oppose my decision either. In fact, he praised me for doing something that follows our family creed.
I gathered a lot of new information almost instantly while chatting with Ganile. They were all just bits and pieces, but as someone who'd never read the original I Quit My Job and Ended Up as a Noble Young Lady in Another World, each and every piece of information was important background info and description of this world. Ganile then said,
I'm sorry if it's disrespectful for a person in a lower position to say this, but please speak informally.
I said that I would, since it was obvious he just wanted to get closer to me, and the boy looked so happy that he might start jumping up and down.
That's why, if it's okay with you, Your Highness, could you please listen to my confession?
I was so anxious that my voice cracked. I have no idea how we got onto this topic. Ganile became even more anxious at my reaction and quickly shook his hand around.
Just informally, Your Highness. I'm sure that you're still fatigued from your journey, so it doesn't matter if it's tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or even next week, whenever it's convenient for you.
The boy looked nervous, as if he thought he put me in a complicated situation. But I really felt like dying. Because he wants me to listen to his confession? I then remembered that Ganile said that I was a royal priest. Ah, did Yunxiao ever tell me that QNW's second male lead was a priest? I'll try to make some time for you soon. I guess she did say something like, "Our cute Jesse has a holy face and his occupation is just as holy." I responded with a typical Korean's "let's hang out sometime" type of comment, and Ganile started smiling again. I needed to focus. I needed to figure out exactly what a priest does, as well as what kind of god these people served before I did anything. I looked at the books Ganile brought me once he'd left. Bi-weekly Riester. Everything about the Empire's beau monde. In brackets, high society. History of the Riester Empire. Focus on the interactions with the Venetian Holy Kingdom. What our Lord gave to behold. There was a thin magazine, a history book, and what seemed to be an essay. Did they rhyme on purpose with that title? First of all, I could tell for sure that the Empire's name was the Riester Empire. All three books looked like they would be helpful to me, and they seemed very different from each other, so I shouldn't get too bored. Ganile, who seemed like he would be good at his job, seemed quite sharp too. I guess you need to force yourself to be sharp if you want to be an attendant in the palace. I picked up the magazine first. I saw that it had, in small font, March 15, 1613 of the Holy Calendar on the cover. Underneath it, in a much larger font, was the text, "The scoundrel of the Holy Kingdom is coming to the Empire." Wait, was this talking about me? Quote unquote. In 2 days, Prince Jesse Venetian, the man who is known as the most handsome man in the Holy Kingdom, will come to the Empire. Although he is coming as a diplomatic hostage, Her Majesty has pronounced that his official title will be a confessional priest from the Venetian Holy Kingdom. What impact will he, who is said to have caused quite a number of scandals in the Holy Kingdom's beau monde, have on Riester's beau monde? Newspaper expert Lady Sarah Belliard digs deep into the atmosphere of the Holy Kingdom's royal palace that has kept itself isolated for 30 years, as well as Prince Jesse's personality. That's a lot to take in.
Yeah, Guess I have a pile of things to learn.
I thought that as soon as I opened the magazine. The MCs of other novels have an extremely fortuitous encounter in the beginning, or their abilities are like hacks from the start, or things like that. Unfortunately, it looked like I would have to dedicate myself to writing and repetitive memorization that I have not had to do since my college admission test days. Oh, no. I lifted my hand and lightly slapped myself. That is for the main character, while I am just one of the many male characters who doesn't really impact MC's life. Okay, according to what Yunseo told me, the second male lead always remains as a supporting character and never becomes the male lead. Okay, let's remember what happened when I said status window in the morning. Nothing had happened. I calmly took out the notebook in my chest pocket with one hand, while grabbing the quill pen on the table with the other. My goal was my survival and returning world. It was not something like saving or conquering this world. I really did stay in my room studying. I wondered every so often what the hell I was doing when I was inside of a novel, but I pushed past it with the will to go home and eat grilled kimchi fried rice with my family. The attendant children's eyes were always sparkling whenever they came in with snacks and herbal tea. Ganail must have said something to them. The children would turn red and rush out if they made eye contact with me, or I smiled at them because I was embarrassed. My hips. I thought things might be different because I was in the prince's body, but his muscles became sore after sitting in the same position for a long time, just like my original body did. I slowly got up and walked to the window. I was planning on taking care of my stretching and vitamin D absorption at the same time. Huh? I saw some people outside of the window. There were numerous figures outside the glass window that showed me the back of the building. My room was on the east end of Juliet Palace, and they were on the palace's west end side, so it was hard to tell who they were. There seemed to be 5 or 6 of them, and 2 of them were holding weapons and sparring against each other. It looked as if the back of Juliet Palace was a training ground. Clang, clang. I could hear the sounds of swords hitting each other. Clang! I flinched at the sharp noise that pierced my ears. A sword seemed to have broken during the sparring. The person who broke his opponent's sword in 2 was holding a sword in his left hand, while looking down in his right hand as he opened and closed it multiple times. He then slowly raised his head, and he and I made eye contact. I quickly closed the curtains and moved away from the window. My instincts told me that I should do that. I had a feeling that he'd still be looking my way if I looked out again. Was it my imagination that our eyes met? Maybe, but however... Oh, that gaze had been so fierce. His gaze had been so firm that I could tell he was looking at me, despite the large distance. Your Highness? Holy smokes! I almost jumped. My heart that had been shot twice in a row was beating wildly. I'm very sorry, Your Highness. I came in because I was concerned as I heard no response after knocking multiple times. Don't worry about it. I'm okay. Benjamin seemed quite shocked at my reaction. I awkwardly caressed my neck. I was looking out the window. I didn't know there was a training ground here. Ah, I see. The rear of Juliet Palace is an outdoor training ground specifically for royal use. His Royal Highness, the Imperial Prince, sometimes spars at this time. The Imperial Prince? Is he different from the Imperial Crown Prince that Yunseo always talked shit about? Does that mean that the Imperial Prince was one of the people down outside? Benjamin must have seen the curiosity in my eyes as he calmly added on. Yes, Your Highness. The esteemed individual outside is His Royal Highness, Prince Cedric Riester. He is the Empire's first Imperial Prince, the only royal grandchild, and is someone who will shine as brightly as the sun. Romero Palace, the palace in front of Juliet Palace, is His Highness's residence. Cedric Riester, the Empire's first Imperial Prince, the only royal grandchild, and someone who will shine as brightly as the sun. Yep, that meant that the Imperial Prince will soon become the Imperial Crown Prince. And the male lead of QNW did have the nickname Craptrick.
And the reason he got such a nickname was because his name started with C, and you've got Craptrick and Cedric, and a very simple puzzle was put together in my eyes.
And the person who just made eye contact with me... Imperial Prince Cedric is also responsible for the Juliet Palace. The royal family member residing in the Romero Palace has been in charge of Juliet Palace for generations. I can set up some time for you to meet His Highness if you'd like, Your Highness.
No, that's okay, Mr. Benjamin.
I quickly responded. Benjamin seemed to get extremely chatty as soon as the Imperial Prince was mentioned. I made up my mind not to get involved with the Imperial Crown Prince, well, simply the Imperial Prince for now, just this morning. It'll be difficult to completely have nothing to do with him since he's my neighbour, but I want to avoid getting to know him on the first day.
I wish to live every day as quietly as today.
Benjamin seemed shocked to hear that. It was an obvious reaction, considering my title as the Scoundrel of the Holy Kingdom. I know my situation. I just want to read some books and spend my days chatting with the attendant children. I hope there aren't many times I need to meet with important people. Your Highness, if you've ever felt unsatisfied with our services of the facilities at Juliet Palace...
No, it's nothing like that, Mr. Benjamin.
I cut him off before Benjamin got the wrong idea. I just wish to go home alive. It'd be ideal to have all of my limbs intact as well. I then smiled, and I meant every word that I said. Next chapter.
The gay people come. They locked eyes and sparks flied. Whether they were sparks of love, well, that's to be determined.
Chapter 4. Flume Ride. 1 week has passed since then.
Hello, Your Highness, First Prince Jesse Venetian of the Venetian Holy Kingdom.
Hello, Mr. Gardner. Prince Jesse, your daily walk is early today.
Yes, sir. Well, I was curious to know how the garden would look in the morning. I lied as if it was nothing, with a smile on my face to the gardeners who greeted me. The garden was pretty in the morning, but I did not come here early to look at that. For the first 5 days, my morning schedule consisted of eating breakfast, rolling around doing nothing for a while, and then reading the latest issue of the bi-weekly Register, or past issues in order to learn things about how things worked in the Empire. After lunch, I'd go out to the balcony and look over the foundation of the Empire from history books Ganile and the attendant children recommended to me, and then I went for a walk for about an hour once my body felt stiff. But then... aren't the camellias beautiful? We pay special attention here because the rear garden of Romero Palace is a place His Highness likes a lot.
Yes, they are beautiful. It sounded soulless to me too.
Yes, that damn Imperial Prince was the problem. Cedric Reeser, also known as Craptrick, the future Imperial Crown Prince and the male lead of I Quit My Job and Ended Up as a Noble Young Lady in Another World. I would have been able to enjoy the fresh air during the usual time I took my afternoon walk, if it wasn't for him coming out to the training ground at that time every day to swing his sword. The royal gardeners are very busy right now because it's almost tulip season. I wanted to show you a purple tulip since you're from the Holy Kingdom, but... One gardener had a look of disappointment on his face. Do tulips not grow in this garden? That's okay, Mr. Gardner. I'm sure there will be an opportunity in the future. It's not like I knew anything about flowers. It wasn't a big deal not seeing tulips, so I just laughed it off. The gardeners soon bowed to me and picked up their pruning shears again. Benjamin definitely said that the Imperial Prince sometimes uses the training ground, but he has been swinging his sword in the training ground behind Juliet Palace every day since I saw him out the window. That guy seems to work too hard. It's not like the Empire is at war, and according to Benjamin, the Imperial Prince is already one of the strongest in the Empire.
Does he have a lot of stress or something? Anyway, I'd avoided going on my walks whenever he was out there. I just didn't want to run into the Imperial Prince even as a coincidence, because our schedules lined up. But a few days ago, he started coming to the training ground at the same time as my walks. I don't know why the hell his schedule changed, but what else can I do but adjust my schedule to my landlord's? The landlord was the boss in romantic fantasies as well. I decided to be that guy who enjoys morning walks starting from today. Your Highness, should I prepare the tea table?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Benjamin, all of you come have a cup as well.
Benjamin had a complicated expression on his face after I said that, but eventually nodded his head. Ganael and the children were full of smiles as they went off to get the table and supplies. Benjamin had said no the first time I asked them to have tea with me, saying that the imperial law was strict about attendance and royalty sharing a table. I argued back, saying that Benjamin and the children were from noble households as well. What harm could a cup of tea do? And they said it was awkward to drink, and then I said it was awkward to drink alone with everybody watching. None of it worked. In the end, the Juliet Palace's group tea time was earned by my saying that I did this in the Holy Kingdom as well. You're free to transfer if you don't like it.
Your Highness, today's snacks are madeleines. They're cookies too. They're fresh out of the oven.
Ganael, don't run. The twins will run if you run. Ganael and the children brought a large picnic basket with a foldable tail. I chuckled and warned the children, who seemed to get extremely excited about the cookies. Yunseo was just like this when she was younger. Our three siblings tended to all eat well, but Yunseo would go crazy for food since she was young. The tea table was set up almost instantly, and we all sat down around the table.
Let's each eat 3 cookies and 2 madeleines. Yes, Your Highness!
Benjamin looked like a professional pouring some peppermint tea as I put the snacks on the children's plates. I couldn't help it, since they would never touch it if I didn't give it to them like this.
Thank you very much, Your Highness. We thank you for this royal favor.
It's just snacks. Royal favor is a bit much, don't you think? The children laughed out loud at my response. It was both cute yet pitiful to see their eyes glowing for snacks, as was expected of their ages. They were only in their teens, so I wished that they could relax, at least in front of me. Other than Benjamin, Ganael, who was 16 years old, was the oldest of my attendants. It was extremely uncomfortable to be attended to by children. I felt guilty seeing the sleepy looks on their faces when they showed up in the morning to wake me up and help me wash. How early must they have had to wake up to get ready to come attend to me? These cookies are for the gardeners. Ganael, take it to them later for me, will you?
Your Highness, you're truly a warm person.
I just felt guilty that I was being a slacker when people who looked much older than me were doing manual labor in front of me. But I smiled, since I could not say that. This morning's group tea time was pretty good. Benjamin explained things like the thought that went into the building Juliet Palace where I stayed, and the Imperial Prince's Romero Palace. I just kept it to myself that I thought the Romero Palace blocked sunlight from reaching Juliet Palace. The children praised me after eating the cookies, saying that they haven't had any nightmares since I got here. It was peaceful. The past week had been peaceful, and it would be great if it could be like this all of the time. Then I shall go share these snacks with the gardeners. Okay, thank you. Ganael completely emptied both his cup and plate before getting up. The other children followed behind him, saying they would help with the drinks. Benjamin and I were the only ones left at the table. It's kind of awkward since it was quiet. I brought the teacup to my mouth, and Benjamin was the first to speak. How was your morning walk, Your Highness? It was pretty good. It was nice to wake me up. I felt so relaxed that I could probably easily absorb the information from books once I went back inside. Mornings where I could roll around the bed are best, but it wasn't bad to come out and get some fresh air either. I noticed you've read a lot of books, Your Highness. I heard that you've been reading all sorts of things. Magazines, history books, holy text, even manuals. I got the chills because he brought up books just as I was thinking about books. But it was understandable why Benjamin would choose that topic. I was like a student studying in their tiny dormitory, except my dormitory was a super fancy palace. I was underlining each and every book that the attendants brought me. organizing my notes and quizzing myself to study both the large and small settings of QNW. Anything that matched what Yunxiu told me is important and got 5 stars next to it. The only thing that I could rely on was my brain, since I didn't have any skills or photographic memory bestowed upon me by the author or system. I frequently questioned what I was doing, but I kept pushing on, remembering that I needed to return home alive. Other than my hour or so long walk, I basically never went out or worked out, or only chatted with the people who worked here. I had no suitable hobbies to live quietly. I also heard that you have asked for past issues of the bi-weekly Reaster as well? Huh? Is something wrong with that? The bi-weekly Reaster was a magazine that had gossip and information about the Empire's beau monde, but it was not a third-rate waste of time either. It was a great source of information for someone like me, since there was a lot of interviews and details about nobles and their public contributions. May I ask why you are so interested in the Empire's beau monde, but are avoiding meeting any of the important people? I guess that could cause some curiosity. I chose my words wisely. Well, I'm a bit of an introvert. This was the truth. I like to approach things via text only. Yeah, and I probably should have read Q and W too. Your Highness, that sounds very different from your personality we've heard about at Reaster. Well, that's how rumors are. You tend to be exaggerated. You're right, Your Highness. He gave a short response. Benjamin's wrinkled eyes looked right at me. Your Highness, my task is to serve you to the best of my abilities. It is not important to me that you are from another kingdom, or that you have come here as a diplomatic hostage. I'm sure. This is my first time hearing him say the words diplomatic hostage. I suddenly felt as if the atmosphere was getting extremely serious. My act of serving you also includes making sure that you are safe, Your Highness. I see. However, it is difficult for me to protect you properly if there is anything you are hiding from me, Your Highness. Excuse me? He's clearly trying to say that I'm hiding something from him, right? I looked extremely shocked, but Benjamin just quietly looked back at me. Benjamin knew best that I've only been in my room, the dining room, and the garden. I didn't have the time or space to cause some secret accident. Benjamin, I'm not hiding anything from you. Well, I am, but that is to do with the fact that this world is in a novel and you're a character in it, but let's just brush that bit aside. You know that I'm someone who can't even get permission to enter the Royal Library. I've never been out of your sight either. Never sent a letter to the Holy Kingdom, nor have I received any. Yes, Your Highness, I know. So what are you saying all of a sudden? Benjamin finally lowered his gaze. I peeked and noticed that his face looked much older than usual. Your Highness, I don't know if you know this or not, but I am a devout believer of the Almighty God. He suddenly changed topics. I recall the information that I'd learned. The Church of the Almighty God was the national religion of the Venetian Holy Kingdom, as well as the religion practiced by 80% of citizens in the Reaster Empire. Jesse Venetian was a priest of the Church of the Almighty God. Oh, I did not know. I thought Ganaya was the only one. Juliet Palace has frequently been called the Frozen Palace. The attendants here were all relegated to this place. However, it was different this time. It was because the news of your arrival had spread, Your Highness. I could not tell where he was trying to go with this. Benjamin, someone who was always calm and did not say much, was spitting out words as if he was a busted faucet that could not stop. The children from noble households of firm believers almost fought each other to be in attendance at Juliet Palace. Viscount Calamar's household had once given birth to a martyr, as well as my own family, Count Girardin's household, were hoping that someone from our family would be assigned to attend to you, Your Highness. The other children who are here are all believers who have gone through rigorous assessments to be here.
I didn't know why he was telling me this, but I could finally understand why the children have been so friendly with me. I would have been a mysterious foreigner, a celebrity they read about in magazines, and most importantly, an agent of their faith.
I have the conviction to become a martyr.
Mr. Benjamin, why would you say something like that? I waved my hand in shock. Be martyred? It was an extremely heavy and shocking concept for an office employee of the 21st century Republic of Korea. Benjamin looked at me and continued to speak.
But what would the children know? They would become terribly weak when faced with death. They would not be able to survive, even with the powers bestowed upon them by the Almighty God.
Benjamin, please calm down. The children will not be in danger. I peeked at the teacup that Benjamin drank from. Why is he saying all as if he'd been drinking alcohol instead of tea? Did something happen?
Please forgive me for saying this, but please promise me that you will be a responsible priest for the believers.
Of course I promise.
Please swear to the Almighty God.
I swear to the Almighty God.
I suddenly shook in shock. My voice sounded as if I was speaking into a microphone, and the table then started to glow.
My goodness.
Benjamin was amazed while looking down at the ground. I looked where he'd been looking as well. The source of light had not been the table. A wide golden circle that was glowing brightly was visible with me at its center. Next chapter. Jesse's such a good boy, isn't he? He's a good lad. Thank you for the hydrate, Ghosty. I appreciate it. Chapter 5 Flume Ride, Part 2. Yapping for a good cause.
I've never seen such a big and bright holy domain before.
Benjamin seemed to know something, unlike me, who was like a broken toy in this unexpected situation. It took me about 10 seconds to realize that this summoning a golden circle on the ground was my ability. I was still confused after seeing something that I'd only seen in games happening to me, but I had a feeling it would be stupid to ask, "What is this?"
Anyway, the children will not be harmed because of me. That is true for you as well, Benjamin.
My voice echoed out once more, as if I was in a karaoke bar. The light of the circle on the ground slowly became dimmer until it disappeared without a trace. It seemed to understand that I'd finished what I needed to say and disappeared.
I shall trust you because you used the divine oracle, Your Highness.
Benjamin seemed the brightest and most gentle I'd seen all week. I did not say anything in response. It was difficult to maintain my facial expression, and I had a ton I needed to study after going back to my room. Holy domain, divine oracle, and even why Benjamin acted so weird today. I became as anxious as someone who did not manage to review all of the topics before having to take a test. Ganile, let's chat for a bit. I closed my study material, the theology book, and stopped the young boy. Ganile, who had seemed as happy as possible this morning, seemed extremely anxious now. He looked pale while serving me lunch and just awkwardly smiled and mumbled to himself any time I tried to talk to him. Your Highness? Take a seat. Did you eat? The boy quietly mumbled that he did. I could see that his large gold pupils were shaking. He must have heard something from Benjamin, or something so big that there was no way for him not to know what must have happened. Benjamin, who'd made me anxious earlier, had been missing since my walk earlier as well. He disappeared without answering any of my questions. Benjamin said something weird to me in the garden. Do you know anything about it?
Yep, anybody would be able to tell there was a lot he knew. Ganile may be sharp.
He seemed to suck at acting or lying. Or is he not thinking about hiding it because it's me?
I feel like I have a right to know if it's related to me. I'm sure it's not a big deal.
I told myself that, and I tried my best to suppress the ominous feeling inside my heart. I'd been extremely quiet for the past week and never ran into the Imperial Prince as I'd planned. I'd never heard about Christelle, the MC of I Quit My Job and Ended Up as a Noble Young Lady in Another World, either. That meant that the MC, the male lead, and I had never had an overlap at all.
Your Highness? You see?
I calmly waited for him to explain. I was old enough to know that pushing children to hurry up and say it would only be counter-effective. At least that's how it had been with Yunxiu.
There was a thief.
Hmm? What, a thief? Not a spy, but a burglar. I wonder what kind of amazing item was stolen that even I had to hear such weird things from Benjamin. Ganile seemed relieved to see the shocked expression on my face.
You must really know nothing about it, Your Highness. I had faith that that would be the case.
Benjamin even brought up martyrs. That's why I thought I should at least know about it, even if it wasn't related to me. I suddenly had a feeling an important incident might have happened somewhere I don't know about. It might be the event that progresses the story of QNW. Even if I try my best not to get swept up by the flowing river, a tiny pebble could not become a boulder. It would end up floating along if the current becomes too strong. In that case, I wanted to at least know how the river that I would have to trust with my body looked and where the currents were fast and slow.
I heard that a treasure, a divine item, had disappeared?
Both of us stopped talking and turned toward the door after hearing a dull knock. Please come in. Benjamin opened the door and entered. Ganile quickly got up from his seat, and I was curious as what he'd been doing until now, but he spoke first.
Your Highness, you have a guest.
A guest?
It is Vice Captain Elizabeth Mutehei of the Imperial Guard.
Holy shit!
I don't remember having an appointment with her.
Excuse me, Your Highness.
A young woman popped in behind Benjamin and respectfully greeted me. I anxiously stood up. She had short olive-coloured hair that was curled in and bright grey eyes. Her uniform had numerous medals to show off her merits.
There was a serious theft that happened at the border of the Riester Empire and the Venetian Holy Kingdom. I asked for this urgent meeting because I had some questions regarding this incident, Your Highness. Please excuse me for being unable to inform you regarding this meeting in advance.
I would seem weird or suspicious if I didn't excuse her for it, so I slowly nodded my head. I gulped, knowing that I had no choice but to accept this meeting with her, even while knowing who she was. It felt as if the thought I had had not too long ago had turned into a reality and slapped me into the face. Forget a flowing river. It seems I've accidentally gotten onto a flume ride.
Hi, Katie. Welcome.
Exactly, Shara. I'm showing you what's so great about this soft shit. Spreading the gospel of baby girl. Look, 2024 was the year of Lloyd. 2025 can be the year of Lloyd and Jesse because Lloyd's not going away. I'm sorry, he's too funny. The only thing that I have stolen since coming here was the air I used to breathe. I reminded myself that I had nothing to feel guilty for and sat up straight.
Oh, you really do drink tea without any caffeine, Your Highness.
Vice Captain Mutehei was the first to speak. She tasted the hibiscus tea that Ganile brought over. I now knew what she meant by that. The priest of the Church of the Almighty God stayed away from stimulants like caffeine and alcohol. They believed that they could not use divine power properly if they were forced to awake or could not think straight. It was written on the first page of the rules and beliefs of the Church of the Almighty God that only the most devoted priests follow this rule. The reason Benjamin and the children had been shocked when I asked for herbal tea on the first day was because they didn't know Prince Jesse was so devoted to the rules of the Church. It made sense since this guy was known as the scoundrel of the Holy Kingdom, I suppose. I just happened to get really lucky.
like a bull that happened to catch a rat while stepping backwards.
Oh, it smells so good. I should recommend this to His Highness, the Imperial Prince, as well. He always drinks dark coffee.
You don't need to beat around the bush, Vice Captain Mute. Her gaze seemed as if she found it odd that I cut her off. But things like how Imperial Prince Cedric is a masochist who likes espresso was information I did not need. I'm sure you're busy as well, Vice Captain Mute. Didn't you say it was a serious theft? Most importantly, I don't want to chat with you for that long.
The captain is taking care of all the work. My title is pretty much just an honorary title. Please, just call me Elizabeth.
She smiled as she said that. I barely managed to smile back. Vice Captain Elizabeth was the daughter of a count and the future heir to the title. Her position was in no way just honorary.
Then please excuse me as I ask some potentially offensive questions.
The Vice Captain of the Imperial Guard took another sip of tea before slowly starting to interrogate me. I saw the ring on her left hand shining as she held the teacup in her hand.
Could you please tell me where you were and what you were doing on the night of March 17th?
March 17th. That was the first day I'd got here. I only remember washing up and going to sleep. I didn't know for sure since I opened my eyes here for the first time on the morning of March the 18th. But my personal attendant and monitor, Benjamin, told me that, so that should be correct. Did you make contact?
Did you make contact with anybody outside before going to bed or after waking up?
No, but you'd probably be able to get better answers asking Benjamin about it. I don't remember very well because I was very tired.
I have already interrogated him as well. He gave me the same response.
Huh. That must be why Benjamin had been missing for a few hours. I nodded my head.
Could you please tell me everybody you had contact with on March 24th in order?
Yesterday?
Well, Ganael and the twins came to wake me up.
Benjamin was with us as well when I got dressed. I met some of the gardeners on my afternoon walk, but I've not memorized all their names yet.
Most people do not memorize their names.
Her voice sounded as if she was holding back a laugh.
You're just as Ganael told me, Your Highness. I was told that you're someone in a high position who's generous to the attendants and respectful even to the gardeners.
I couldn't tell her that it was because the attendants were younger than my sister, while the gardeners were my parents' or grandmother's age. Oh, I feel more relaxed that way. That was all I could really say. It felt like a stoic yet realistic response.
Did you say that there were twins among your attendants, Your Highness?
Vice Captain Elizabeth quickly changed the topic. They aren't identical. They're children of the Baron Belan. But only their heights are the same. I talked to her about the twins. The two boys who always followed behind Ganael were 13 years old. I told her that I did not see anybody after that. Benjamin, Ganael, and the Belang twins were the only official ones attending to me, while the other servants only showed up when they needed help.
I visited Baron Belang's estate when I was younger.
I see.
The Baron couple were extremely nice people. I should send a letter to check in on them.
The interrogation must have ended without asking anything important, as she was talking about such random things. She then stood up and respectfully bid me farewell. It seemed too easy for an incident that made Benjamin almost go crazy in the garden and Ganael extremely anxious all day, especially since Vice Captain Elizabeth called it a serious incident as well. Of course, I felt that this was normal since I really didn't do anything.
Until next time, Your Highness.
I just smiled as she walked out the door. I would rather not see the Imperial Prince's best friend in such an unexpected situation ever again.
It must have been tough for you today, Your Highness.
Ganael chatted with me as he brought me a cup of water in case I needed it in the middle of the night. I was sitting on the bed reading The Theory of Reality of Controlling Divine Power, as I responded to him.
You had it tough being
interrogated today as well. Why are they questioning us when the theft happened so far away from here?
was really tough, Your Highness. I was completely shocked.
The boy sighed. I heard more about the incident from Benjamin after Vice Captain Elizabeth left Juliet Palace. The theft had happened at the Temple of Vigilance, which was extremely far away from the royal palace. Apparently, it was a place that would require someone to go through numerous portals and then travel by horse for a week after that to get there. Doesn't that place have extremely tight security as well? I've read about it in a book. The Temple of Vigilance was the largest temple on the continent that was on the border of the Riester Empire and the Venetian Holy Kingdom. It was also the residence of the Pope, although the position was currently vacant. The Pope renounces their nationality once they become the Pope, so the Pope's residence was located in the Temple of Vigilance, which was on a neutral territory guarded by both the Empire and the Holy Kingdom.
That's right. According to the attendants at the Romero Palace, the divine item just disappeared without any traces or witnesses. If the Holy Kingdom had stolen it, they would have obviously taken it back to the kingdom, so I don't understand why they were bugging you about it, Your Highness.
I found that funny as well. Must think I'm some kind of pushover because I'm a diplomatic hostage. Even if the prince had robbed the divine item on his way to become a hostage of the Empire, why would he bring such a treasure with him when he knew he would be searched thoroughly upon his arrival?
Let's just think of it as a reference check.
I nonchalantly responded. Vice Captain Elizabeth's words and actions had not been heavy at all. If she really thought I was a suspect, I'm sure the captain would have shown up instead of the vice captain of the Imperial Guard. Either that, or they would have dragged me somewhere to be interrogated.
Yes, sir. Please sleep well, Your Highness.
You too, Ganail. The boy turned off the light, said goodnight, said goodbye, and left. I waved at him, even though he couldn't see me, and slowly laid down. I suddenly started thinking about Yun Xiao as I stared at the ceiling. Had she ever mentioned this? I don't think so. She did talk about temples and ceremonies, but she never mentioned anything about a treasure disappearing or how our Jessie was framed for a crime. I must have been airheaded. This was no flume ride. I guess I got agitated too since everybody was antsy, even though it wasn't even an important incident. And yes, Airheads is just the name of a candy bar. Click. Someone opened the door and entered the room without even knocking. It was the twin attendants, the Bellang twins. Next chapter. Chapter 6. Flume Ride, Part 3. I sat up. I could see two children quietly standing in the darkness. Hey guys, what is... I suddenly felt as if I was suffocating. I quickly grabbed my neck, but there was nothing there. But even though there was nothing there... I could not breathe. Neither my voice nor my breath was coming out properly. I slowly crumbled down while looking at the children standing in front of me. The expressions on the Bellang twins' face that were visible because of the moonlight looked extremely unfamiliar. The faces that had always been smiling at me were cold as ice sculptures. What is going on?
Sinky, prepare the sacrament. Just focus on what you're doing, Peter. He's resisting. Sinky and Peter? Those weren't the children's names. At least they weren't the names that I knew.
I did my best to stay conscious even as my face turned purple from suffocation.
Don't rely on your mana. Just try to pull out more divine power. Okay.
Sinky was giving Peter advice. That tightened the force around my throat even more. These children were trying to kill me. I could at least be sure of that. I didn't know how they were doing it, but the twins were trying to commit murder without putting their hands on me. Stronger than I expected.
Your Highness, please just accept your fate. This is the will of the Almighty God and His mighty decisions.
These punks who hadn't even been through puberty were saying such scary things. I could feel the vein popping out of my forehead. I clenched my teeth and shook my head. Like hell will I expect this?
It's almost complete.
I became dizzy. Everything was getting blurry from lack of oxygen. I couldn't help but feel that this world was real.
There was no way that such a slow shadow of death could be fate. I'm scared. And still, my brother, my mom's face is flashed in front of my eyes.
Good.
Renald Bilal, no, Peter, was saying such terrible things with an innocent look on his face. I glared at the boy and desperately tried to recall what I had read in the theory and reality of controlling divine power. My mind was hazy, so I couldn't recall very well. I had no confidence that I would succeed. However, I still had to try.
I'm going to start the sacrament. Okay.
It was 100 and 1,000 times better than grasp at the straws and try something rather than to die trying without doing anything. I tried to do whatever I could to come back to my senses. I had to focus. A small gold circle appeared underneath Sinky's feet the moment I started to pray. I pray to the God, great almighty God of the continent. I don't know if you'll accept my prayer, but please, save me.
Wait, Peter? Did you just... I can do it! Hurry! You idiot, not that! Help me! Clang! Get lost, you bastards!
A golden circle exploded out of my body. The two boys' bodies were sent flying as if they were bullets because of my divine oracle, and I could finally breathe again. The walls were cracked, and every window in my bedroom was broken. The chandelier was shaking violently along the ground. The books I had scattered around the room were flipping pages as if they were reeds blowing in the wind. The golden circle under my feet was the only thing that was shining brightly in the darkness. Don't get any closer. My squeaky voice echoed through the divine oracle. The two boys' feet seemed to stick to the ground as they got up, as if someone had superglued them to the ground.
How does he have such...
I urgently breathed in and out, over and over. My coughing would not stop. My eyes were hot from the tears that gathered during my suffocation.
Unbelievable! There's no way you have so much divine power! Did you really steal a divine item or something?
Won't you shut the hell up? The two bastards were shouting too much. I said that because I was annoyed, but the divine oracle was applied once more and the boys' mouths were closed shut. I caught my breath and looked underneath the bed. It was exactly as I'd read in the book. This perfect circle that was radiantly glowing gold. This was the holy domain. An ether circle's simplest form that protected the priest from all external forces. It was the thing that appeared when I made that vow to Benjamin. As long as the circle is open, everything I say can be activated as a divine oracle. The strength of a divine oracle varies depending on the divine power of the priest who activated the circle. The divine oracle would not work if the opponent had a stronger divine power than the caster. Basically, the fact that these punks couldn't do anything because of my divine oracle meant that their divine power was much lower than mine. Don't bite your tongue. Do not think about committing suicide. Regardless of their identities and the reasons behind why they wanted to kill me, I needed to keep them alive for now. I needed to figure out the details of this issue and come up with a plan to prevent this kind of danger from happening again. They still called me Your Highness respectfully and said that was His Majesty's decision to kill me. Did the Holy Kingdom? Bang!
Prince Jesse!
We are the Imperial Guard. Drop your weapons! The door that had become weaker because of how my circle released easily fell off. Vice Captain Elizabeth was at the front of the group of knights that charged in with their swords drawn. The already messy room instantly turned into a loud flea market. A few of the guards who seemed like the elite stood in front of me as if to protect me. Then Benjamin came in with them and quickly supported me as I staggered. I managed to see that his face was pale. Get down! Do it now! The other Imperial Guard members bound the two criminals. The two boys whose mouths were shut closed frowned as they flailed around. The knight who was trying to drag Steve Sinky, out of the room looked stupefied. The boys' feet were stuck to the ground and would not move.
Prince Jesse, please release your divine oracle. It will be difficult to arrest them like this.
Vice Captain Elizabeth realized what was going on and quickly addressed me. But it was hard for me to even open my mouth. I didn't know whether the adrenaline was gone, or if I was finally feeling this second layer of fear, but I could not put any strength into my body. My legs were wobbly and I had a terrible headache.
Your Highness!
I felt as if my body was crumbling down. I felt as if my soul and body had split, as though I was still looking forward, but my body seemed to be falling to the ground.
Call the Imperial Doctor immediately!
Damn it!
Hey, you, go escort Her Eminence, the Cardinal!
That was the last of what I remembered, hearing before I fainted.
Does he really plan on living quietly?
I heard a man's voice I did not recognize. It was a low voice that woke me right up. It was a soothing voice, as if a voice actor was performing. I wanted to open my eyes to see who this guy was. Unfortunately, although my mind was awake, my body would not listen to me.
The flow of his ether has stabilized. Well, that means he should wake up soon, right?
I recognized the voice asking that question to be the Vice Captain Elizabeth's voice, and the man did not respond. I just hear a chair quietly being pushed back.
Sadie, will you be back?
She seemed to be talking to the other person. However, all I heard was the footsteps of the man moving away. I finally thought that I might be dreaming. I wasn't feeling frustrated or suffocated, but the fact that my mind was awake but couldn't move my body made me feel as if I was having a nightmare. I got sleepy once again once I had that thought, so I didn't resist it, and I fell back asleep.
Look, Ghosty, I'm doing the best I can with the voice I've got, alright? You want me to crack out a voice modulator? Because that'll be worse. That'll be so much worse.
You're finally awake. When I opened my eyes, I did not see a familiar ceiling. It was the same wallpaper that I'd been seeing for the past week. I guess I'm still Jesse Venetian. I'm not back to being Jung Yun-Seob. I was disappointed that I didn't wake up at home with Yun-Seob and my brother before slowly turning my head towards the person who spoke to me.
Hi there.
A middle-aged woman was warmly smiling at me. Her magenta hair was tied into a side ponytail and flowing over one shoulder. Her beige-colored eyes looked warm as they observed my condition. I was intrigued because this was my first time seeing a monocle.
You fainted because of ether overload. I'm glad you recovered faster than I expected.
Who? May I ask who you are? I asked in a hoarse voice, and she handed me a cup that was on the side table. I had a case of deja vu as I drank the water. The ceiling wallpaper was familiar, but this was actually not my room. It was just a room with the same wallpaper. Well, then again, my room was probably out of commission after everything that had happened. I thought about my dorm room that had cracks on the walls and every window broken. Man, I destroyed a room just 1 week into possessing this body.
My name is Auriel Boutier. Have you heard my name before?
My jaw dropped on its own. Auriel Boutier. Of course I knew her name. How could I not know? She was a famous person who appeared in every book I read. The Imperial Prince's godmother. She was someone who'd rejected the Duchess title twice. She was the Empress's close friend and her religious partner. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Your Noble Eminence, Madam Cardinal.
It's nice to meet you too, little prince. There's no need to get up.
The Empire's only cardinal quietly chuckled as she greeted me. She motioned for me to lay back down as I started to sit up. I never expected such a colossus to appear in front of me like this. Cardinal Boutier was an important character in Q&W that Juncio frequently mentioned.
Madame Ull was shielding Crabtree in front of Christelle, and wow, even I almost fell for it. She's such a smooth talker.
Madame Owl. She played the role of the matchmaker who connected the MC Christelle with the male lead. Although I could calm my nerves after meeting Vice Captain Elizabeth, I felt like I'd throw up after meeting the Cardinal.
First of all, I wish to apologize to you on behalf of the Imperial family. The Empire is partly at fault for this incident as well. Her Majesty was unable to come because she is currently busy, but she expressed her deep regrets. She promised to accommodate anything you want.
Cardinal Boutier furrowed her eyebrows. I tightly clenched the empty cup. This person plays an extremely important role in the novel and was extremely close to the Imperial family. I would gain no benefits from getting involved with this person in the long run. But because of that same reason, the information I could get from her would be extremely high quality. I'd almost died right before I fainted. I managed to save my life because I'd studied so hard, but if I had fresh knowledge I'd learned from a person in addition to what I'd learned from books, I might have a better grip on my powers and been in a much better situation. I couldn't let the same thing happen again. I'd made up my mind to safely get back home. And in order to do that, I needed to make the most of the opportunity I was given. Your Eminence, I wish to hear an explanation. Could you please explain all of it to me?
Sure, I'll tell you everything.
She gently took the cup from my hand, poured some more water in there, and returned it to me. She then filled a cup for herself as well. Who were those guys? Where are they now?
If you are talking about the siblings, Sinky and Peter, Sinky is a priest while Peter is a holy knight. They are children the Holy Kingdom sent to assassinate you.
I had expected this, but it was so cruel. Those guys were too young to do such a task. How is that possible? I heard that every attendant had to go through a rigorous check just to get into the palace.
You're right. But they somehow managed to get their hands on the checking process as well.
She took a sip of water. Her expression made it seem as if the situation had been horrible.
Baron Belang is a noble from the small countryside territory on the southern end of the Empire, and his faith is extremely deep. The Baron couple decided to send a child to attend to you after hearing about how you'd be coming to the Empire. Their first child had already become the young patriarch and would succeed his position, so they decided to send the twins, their second and third children, to take the attendance selection test. Both the parents and children were happy to do that. I visited Baron Belang's estate when I was younger. The Baron couple were extremely nice people.
I recalled what Vice Captain Elizabeth had said.
After passing the documentation process, the two children got onto a carriage to come for their interviews. They couldn't even think about using portals because they were so expensive. And they lost their lives to some bandits while going through one of the dangerous forests in the south. The driver lost his life there as well.
I could tell what happened next without even hearing the rest. Those bandits then disguised themselves as the Belang twins, and the Cardinal nodded her head. Next chapter. You guys enjoying it so far? And yeah, just forewarning, I'm gonna do my absolute best, but I have the kind of voice that would fit Jesse, not the kind of voice that at all would fit Cedric. I don't have, like, a corpse husband voice. So, I'm not gonna have the intended effect when he speaks. But I'll do my best. But, like, take what I'm saying, but like imagine it probably like a whole octave deeper and just sexier, I guess. Fuck you, Ghosty. Fuck all y'all. Fuck all y'all with the cadaver ass comments. Fuck all y'all. That's probably my little like gaggle of motherfuckers. Thank you for the hydrate. Alright. So rude. It's still my birthday for another half hour and y'all already being rude to me.
Zana, hi, welcome. These guys, Ghosty and Katie, are being mean to me even though it's still my birthday. Rude. Alright. Chapter 7. News about her. Part 1. The two bandits, Sinky and Peter, were similar in age and size with the killed children. More importantly, they were also twins, so the interviewers were not suspicious. The Imperial Guard believes that someone who works for the Belong family received some money from the Holy Kingdom and handed over the information about the attendant candidates.
So you're saying that once the Holy Kingdom got information about the Belong twins, they sent an assassin who met the requirements to switch with them?
Yes. It seems to have planned long before you got here.
Money? They sold out 2 children who were only 13 years old and got them killed? For money? I was devastated about what I just heard. Yuncio had never told me about this side of QNW. Was the whole novel like this? Was it only this chaotic around the second male lead? If it was the latter, I can understand why Yuncio was always feeling sorry for the prince.
They were thoroughly educated to be your attendants, so they wouldn't have failed the exam. The Chief of Staff and Benjamin were not suspicious of them because they had seen them in the interview.
Cardinal Goutier calmly added on. Ma'am, what happened to them? Were they executed?
They are still alive. Her gaze was kind of odd as she looked at me. It was thanks to you taking care of them properly. You gave a divine oracle so that they could not commit suicide. Normally, assassins who get captured try to kill themselves to protect their masters. Then, yes, they were captured by the Imperial Guard without being able to hurt themselves, and ended up having to reveal everything they knew.
Were they tortured? I bit down on my lips. It wasn't that I was forgiving those bastards for what they'd done to me. My loathing and disappointment in those murderers was not getting weaker just because that we were close for the past week. But there was a limit to what a Korean person living in the 21st century could accept as a punishment. It was understandable for criminals to go to prison. It made sense that they would need to question them to find out the instigator. But torturing people, especially children in their early teens, was not something that I could easily accept.
They probably would have done that if I was not here. But thankfully, I'm kind of skilled. Her beige-colored eyes curled up. My divine oracle is very strong. It isn't very hard for me to completely cleanse the minds of children who have lived their whole lives being brainwashed.
Oh, that was a relief. She looked at my expression before laughing out loud this time.
You truly are a kind child, as I've heard.
No, ma'am, I do believe that they need to be punished. Even if they are minors, they have murdered 3 people and they tried to kill me as well.
You are right, and they will be charged with attempted murder on a member of the Imperial family because they tried to kill a prince of a foreign nation residing at the palace. Even if they keep their lives because of the Belong couple or your benevolence, they will live the rest of their lives in prison.
I nodded my head. Barely managed to survive, but I felt ill thinking about the 2 children and the driver who lost their lives in an instant. Then, can can I ask you some questions now?
Excuse me? You have questions for me?
I don't think that all of my questions have been answered yet. I just want some answers to things that have made me curious these past 3 days. I will answer any questions to the best of my ability, Your Eminence. I guess I was unconscious for 3 days. That was the only thought in my mind as I looked directly into the Cardinal's mysterious eyes. She cautiously started to speak.
The Holy Kingdom. I know that you are not respected there.
Yeah, this was something that I actually knew about as well. Yunxiao had mentioned Jenny Venetian's unfortunate family life, and it was written in the latest issue of the bi-weekly Riester as well. Unlike the two princesses who were born from the relationship between the Queen and the Prince Consort, Prince Jesse was a bastard born from the Queen's affair with a priest.
Everybody in the Empire knows that the person who pushed for you to be sent as a diplomatic hostage was the Holy Kingdom's Prince Consort, Werner.
The official husband probably saw the prince as a thorn in his eye. That bastard is probably the one who's sending assassins as well. I calmly nodded my head, and Cardinal Boutier continued to speak.
It is not very shocking that he sent assassins to kill you. He could ask the Empire to take responsibility if you died as a diplomatic hostage, so it was probably a good idea to get in the Prince Consort's mind. The assassin siblings admitted to this as well. I see. They were planning on killing you and making it look like a suicide. They probably planned on framing you for the temple theft incident because you were recently questioned about it as well.
I wondered why he needed to kill me when he already sent me off as a diplomatic hostage. It was probably related to the fact that Prince Jesse was the son of a priest, and the priests hold absolute power in the Holy Kingdom. The royal descendants were all baptized at birth and groomed as priests and would rise to the position of bishop since the age of 16, even if they were born with extremely weak divine power. Whether they grew up to be swordsmen, mages, or whatever, anybody close to the throne would always carry the title of priests as well. The only way for anybody who was not of royal blood to become a priest was to be born with strong divine power, but that did not seem to be common based on the history books I've read. There was only one person per generation, a commoner without any royal blood, who'd become a priest. That was why it was not an exaggeration for people to call the story of how the monarch of the Holy Kingdom fell in love with a priest who was originally a commoner and had a child with him to be the romance of the century that shook the entire continent. The citizens of the Holy Kingdom supported the Queen's first child, Crown Princess Elise's right to the throne, but showed quite the fierce love for Jesse, the son of a priest. He was an extremely popular prince who was born with purple eyes, which was said to show that someone was a descendant of the Almighty God. It might have been normal for Prince Consort Werner, the Crown Prince's father, to feel concerned. Oh, these were all things I learned and memorized while drawing someone else's family tree from the information I read. The only things Yunxiao had told me about this was that Prince Jesse was born from an extramarital relationship, his eyes were purple, and that the atmosphere in his family was terrible. But the Prince Consort must not have believed that you would have such a strong divine power. The two children were no match for you. Cardinal Boutier's eyes clouded over. I gulped. This was something I could not understand either. If they knew that Prince Jesse was a strong priest, they should have sent people who were stronger than him to quietly take care of him. But the Prince Consort's assassins became powerless at my aether explosion and could only obey my divine oracle.
Unbelievable! There's no way you have so much divine power. Did you really steal a divine item or something?
I recalled what those two punks had shouted to me. They seemed even more shocked that I'd had the amount of power, had been at the amount of power that I'd released. This was very weird. Prince Jesse was born and raised in the Holy Kingdom's palace. If he was born with strong divine power, there was no way that the Prince Consort would not have known about it. Does that mean that it wasn't innate and that he earned this divine power after leaving the Holy Kingdom? When could he have done that? Furthermore, is something like that even possible? I was starting to get a headache, so I just decided to be honest. Your Eminence, even I do not know what happened. I didn't know that my divine power was so strong. I just thought that I couldn't die like that and prayed to the Almighty God.
And then ether so strong that it made the walls crumble burst out of your body? Your holy domain was also big enough to fill the entire room.
Yes, ma'am. Her head slowly tilted to the side. Her face was stoic, but seemed a bit cold.
Did you steal the divine item from the Temple of Vigilance?
No, ma'am. I immediately responded back. I didn't know how the conversation ended up there, but I was innocent, so I had no reason to hesitate. The Cardinal slowly closed her eyes.
May the Almighty God forgive this child for his lie.
A large gold circle appeared on the bedroom floor as soon as she said that. This holy domain was extremely fancy and exquisite compared to the one that I'd released. The circle spun once before quietly disappearing while I was blanking out at the intricate patterns on it. I finally realized what she'd done to me. Just now,
I tried to use a holy circle for confessions to see if you were lying. I'm sorry.
she had a bitter smile on her face.
Those who confess and are forgiven receive a special ether reaction. It looks like you have no sins to receive forgiveness for, since the holy domain is calm. You were telling the truth. Wow, there are people who use confessionals as lie detectors? Is it really okay for the Cardinal to do this? I was amazed at the fact that sacraments could be used like this. I also felt relieved that Prince Jesse had not stolen a divine item without my knowledge. Well, time for me to get up now. She brushed off her clothes and got up while I was blanking out. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but someone is calling for me. Wait, she's just leaving just like that? This is the end? Her suddenly leaving like this was as shocking as seeing her as soon as I opened my eyes. Your Eminence, you're leaving right now? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. I will leave the door to my office open. Feel free to come and ask any questions you may have. She sounded like a professor I had in college. It was an extremely great offer for me since I planned on pulling out as much information as I could from the Cardinal, so I calmly nodded my head. Oh, right. Will you compliment Elizabeth when she comes? She was the first to notice that the twins were suspicious. The Cardinal said that as she was about to walk out the door. Elizabeth, are you talking about Vice Commander Butte? Yes, she's a modest child, so she won't bring it up first. I stayed with His Royal Highness, the Imperial Prince at Baron Belang's estate when I was younger. I was concerned about the fact that they grew up to be not identical, since I remember they were clearly identical when they were younger. I see. I'm sure it does happen, but I guess you could call it the intuition of the Vice Captain of the Royal Guard. That was why I urgently sent a messenger to the Baron through the portals to confirm if it was true. I also sought out His Royal Highness for his opinion on the matter. My intuition ended up being correct. Didn't someone tell me that this girl was extremely modest? I took a sip of pumpkin tea while listening to the Vice Captain Elizabeth talk about her part in this, with an extremely proud look on her face. I asked for this tea after seeing that Ganil's face was completely swollen from crying so much, because he was worried about me, but it was pretty good with a sweet scent. The Baron couple had not heard from their sons for a while, but were waiting because they thought the children would have sent letters through carriage mail, because portal mail is so expensive. They could have never imagined for something so horrible to have happened to their sons. The Vice Captain Elizabeth scrunched her face as if she was feeling emotional. I thought that she wouldn't be that calm of a person from the first time we met, but she seems to be more expressive than I thought. Was she acting tough that day because she came to investigate an incident at the time? I brought the Imperial Guard to Juliet Palace as soon as we got the Baron's confirmation. I apologize for being unable to respond any faster, Your Highness. Not at all. I should be thanking you. My life would have been in danger if you had not appeared at that time, Vice Captain Elizabeth. I just did what needed to be done, Your Highness. Her grey eyes sparkled as she smiled. It is difficult to approach Juliet Palace because it's the farthest corner from the Imperial grounds. The minimal number of guards are assigned here because there are not many dangers. It will change from now on, of course. I debated whether to ask about that damn temple treasure theft incident while she was telling me about the plans to increase the number of guards at Juliet Palace. It wasn't related to me now that the Cardinal stopped in and confirmed that I was not the thief.
I was honestly curious about what had happened, but I thought there was no need to show any interest in it since it must not be an important incident as Yun Xiong never brought it up.
Ah, and we will make sure you have plenty of guards for your attendance at the spring ball as well.
Excuse me? Spring ball? I asked in a cold tone. All of the other thoughts in my head quickly left the water, left like the water during a low tide. Next chapter. Chapter 8. News About Her, Part 2. Vice Captain Elizabeth's eyes opened wide at my reaction.
You don't know about the spring ball, Your Highness? I guess you haven't heard about it since the details came out yesterday.
She mumbled about how Ganyle seemed out of it as well.
The spring ball at the Riester Imperial Palace is the Empire's greatest beau monde affair in the first half of the year. Many young ladies and young masters make their debuts at this ball. There was also some talks about postponing it because of the assassination attempt. However, something big happened while you're unconscious and it will proceed as planned.
Vice Captain Elizabeth stopped talking for a moment and took a sip of pumpkin tea. The silence gave me an ominous feeling.
Duke Sarnay's only daughter, young lady Christelle de Sarnez, has finally gotten up from her sickbed.
I could not control my expression. I tried my best to look uninterested and shoved my face into the teacup. Christelle de Sarnez, the main character of I Quit My Job and Ended Up as a Noble Young Lady in Another World. A person I must avoid at all costs. My heart was beating wildly for negative reasons.
Do you know the story of young lady Sarnez, Your Highness?
No, not at all. My voice was okay just now, right?
Wouldn't be a bad thing to know about it. There's nobody in the Riester Empire, especially in the Beaumont, who does not know about it. I've heard that you have a lot of interest in that area as well, Your Highness.
I quietly started eating a galgare in front of me. Galgare? I don't know, it's a French word. I felt as if I needed something to eat to calm myself down.
After a coming-of-age ceremony 3 years ago, the young lady fell into a mysterious long slumber. She regained her consciousness every so often during the first year. However, she's been sleeping without moving at all for the past 2 years, as if she were a doll.
That sounds so terrible.
Doesn't it? Her Majesty even sent the Imperial Doctor to stay with Duke Sarnez for a long time to see if anything could be done. Duke Sarnez is one of Her Majesty's few loyal retainers. Of course, he is still just as loyal.
Information about QNW's original setting that Yun Xiong never told me about was coming at me like a tidal wave. This was a story I couldn't find while going through 1 year's worth of the bi-weekly Riester.
But young lady Sarnez opened her eyes 3 days ago. It was the same night that you fainted, Your Highness.
I got the chills after hearing about this scary coincidence. Did I cause some kind of accident? Did she wake up because of me? No, it should not be related to me at all. It's finally time for the MC to start her journey. I quietly shook my head while thinking about the things Yun Xiong said to herself every so often. Don't be overly self-conscious and regain your healthy life.
According to the rumors, the young lady is apparently extremely healthy, to the point that they cannot believe that she's been sleeping for 3 years. She also keeps asking for spicy food. I guess your taste buds change if you're sick for a long time.
I became certain after hearing about her wanting spicy food. A Korean office worker is possessing the body of this woman who finally awakened after 3 years.
Anyway, she's been out of bed for 4 days, but there are quite a lot of people who are predicting that the young lady will make her beau monde debut at the spring ball. Her Majesty seems to be planning on making the ball as large as possible to celebrate the joyous occasion of her waking up.
Vice Captain Elizabeth was the young matriarch of the influential Mute countries, so she would not be one to create or spread rumors. Most of what she said just now must be true. That's really great,
isn't it? But the other young masters and young lady who had planned on debuting on the ball might feel differently. They're all busy calling the tailors at the capital, trying to change their attires for the ball.
I tilted my head in confusion as I did not understand what that meant. Vice Captain Elizabeth chuckled.
They're preparing extremely fancy outfits because they're worried they'd be buried by young Lady Sarnays and gather no attention. It's not like they could do anything to get more attention than the main character. I was shocked to unexpectedly hear about Christelle, but I was about to quickly regain my composure by eating delicious food. She's someone I would have nothing to do with anyway, so I decided to make that happen. Of course, there is someone else they should really be wary of. Vice Captain Elizabeth swiped her olive-colored hair behind her ears and smiled. I'm talking about you, Prince Jesse. Excuse me? I flinched and dropped the 5th gargouille as I was about to eat. Why is my name coming up? Your Highness, you got caught up in an assassination attempt 1 week after coming into the palace and was able to survive thanks to your own abilities. The nobles and even the commoners on the streets are all talking about you. You must be joking, right, Vice Captain Mute? Absolutely not. Whether it was you who will bring it, whether it is who you will bring as a part into the ball, what you'll be wearing, or what even kind of dancing you will do, they are supposedly curious about everything. I clenched my eyes shut before opening them back. Another of the cheesy bread went down my throat. Oh, what good will it do for me to get so much attention? I will not be attending the ball. I can barely take a walk in the garden with Her Majesty's permission. Well, there are talks that Her Majesty will send you an official invitation, Your Highness. Wait, why would she do that? It is just my hypothesis, but the Imperial family received some scorn because of the assassination attempt. I believe she wants to restore some of the prestige of the Imperial family by publicly showing that you're healthy and well. I felt as if things were getting blurry. The palace ball where the main character is making her Beaumont debut? I've never read a romantic fantasy, but my intuitions were telling me something. This was an event I must avoid at all costs. In fact, this ball might be more dangerous to me than the twins' assassination attempt. I could stop some attacks by opening my circle now, but I'd not be able to get away if I get swept up in the main character's story. I believe I will be busy that day. Excuse me? I haven't even mentioned the day of the ball, though. I came to the Empire to fulfill the role of a confessional priest. I'll have to listen to the confessions of the esteemed individuals at the palace. I said whatever came to mind, but even I thought it was a decent excuse. I mean, I may be a diplomatic hostage, but my official title was confessional priest, so I just had to do my job well. And the position of second male lead was none of my business. But everybody will be at the ballroom that day. Well, I may not know much, but I do know that the number of people who will not be able to attend the ball will be much greater than the number attending the ball. I recalled how Ganail had asked me to hear his confession the first day I ended up here. I also remembered the faces of the gardeners, attendants, and kitchen staff who always greeted me with bright smiles. I will remain as a priest for those people. I smiled brightly. It sounded like a perfect excuse, even after thinking it over once. Your Majesty, Her Eminence Cardinal Auriel Boutier has arrived. Tell her to come in. The Empress of the Empire, Frederique Riester, sat up straight instead of leaning back on the couch. The Cardinal would nag her about her posture was terrible and how she should think about her age if she kept sitting like this. She was fixing her wrinkled cravat when the Cardinal appeared. She was wearing a full ceremonial robe with a mitre on her head, unlike how she'd been dressed when she'd gone to check on Prince Jesse. Cardinal Auriel Boutier greets the sun that has descended to the surface. Laura, give us a minute. Yes, Your Majesty. The Chief of Staff quietly responded and headed out of the room. Only the Empress and the Cardinal were left in the large office. Auriel sat down on the couch across from the Empress, as if it was normal, and took a whiff of the coffee that was prepared for her. Why are you so late? I came as soon as you called. You know that Juliet Palace is far from the Empress Palace. The Cardinal responded to Frederique's grumbling question with a gentle smile. Aurélie Boutier had left Prince Jesse's room immediately after hearing her contractor's voice calling for her in her head. The shocked look in the young man's purple eyes was still clear in her mind. So, how's the situation? Prince Jesse is very healthy. He's not hurt, and the mental shock should heal soon. You know I'm not asking about that.
The Empress's cherry-colored eyes looked angry.
Alright, how do you even pronounce that? Aurélie, I think it's like Aurélie or something. It's a French name.
I'm just gonna keep calling her Aurel because I'm losing my mind. Aurel quietly sat at her childhood friend's quietly sighed at her childhood friend's hot temperament.
His ether exploded that much, but it only took 3 days for the flow of his ether to calm back down. The total amount of ether he has is difficult for even me to fathom.
What kind of?
The Empress seemed shocked to hear that the level was beyond what the Cardinal can fathom.
Could be Auriel. It's either Auriel or Aurélie. Or Aurélie or something like that. The Cardinal slowly continued to speak.
It made sense why the nearby attendants are having good dreams. It'd be weird for them to be upset having that much ether roaming around them. Seti's conditions getting better recently probably has to do with that child as well. It's really difficult to follow what you're saying. I think you might be swinging your sword too much lately. Read some books too.
It was a simple joke, but the Empress did not snort as usual. The topic was too heavy and serious right now to do that.
His aether is at a level. His aether is at a level that you can't fathom. Are you trying to say that he could be the Pope in the future or something? Who knows?
Aurélie responded as if she was singing.
All I know is that the total amount of ether on his plate is huge. His current divine power is at the bishop level.
Well, either way, the information about his being a bishop just for show was a lie.
It was. He was able to easily take down a clergy level breach and a holy knight on his own.
They both stopped talking for a moment. The Empress brushed back her silver hair that she'd recently had cut short, saying it was annoying.
Well,
then did the prince really steal the pattern of wishes? She looked towards the document on the table in front of the couch. It was the report the Empire's troops had organized regarding the information they'd heard from the border. The Temple of Vigilance was the largest temple on the continent, located on the border of the Risa Empire and the Venetian Holy Kingdom. One of the few divine items on the continent was being stored at the temple, which was the residence of the Pope, and there was a legend that if someone made a wish with their blood, the Almighty God would grant that wish. That was the reason it got the name, the Pattern of Wishes. Prince Jesse was being suspected of touching the pattern when he stopped at the temple on his way to the Empire. It was unlike and almost impossible based on the amount of time he took, and nothing was found in the prince's belongings. The soldiers in the area said the prince's group was only one to pass through the Empire's thoroughly guarded inspection site that day, but he had no reason to commit such a crime. Even if the divine item never shows up, the prince will become free of these ambiguous suspicions in the future. I don't really know. I'm not sure that stolen is the right word for it. Adam, answer my question. The Empress used the Cardinal's middle name to scold her for avoiding the question. However, it wasn't that the Empress truly did not understand the Cardinal's current demeanor. The Pattern of Wishes was fine. It was still in place at the temple, giving off a holy light and showing off its beautiful exterior. It made sense since the pattern was a divine item that only the Pope could handle. Forget moving the pattern, anyone who was not chosen to be the Pope wouldn't even be able to move it the length of a fingernail. The Pope position was currently vacant. The problem was, the contents of the pattern were not fine. Even if the pattern is fine, we cannot look past the fact that all the holy water is gone. Yes, I know, Eves. The holy water that had been in the pattern had disappeared without leaving a singular drop. According to the legends, the holy water was not something people had put in there. It was something from the Almighty God that had been in the pattern from the beginning. It meant that the pattern and the holy water had been one entity for a very long time. The exhaustion of the holy water was pretty much the destruction of the pattern. I will ask again, did the prince absorb the holy water to get such powers? That child is innocent. I personally confirmed it. Aurelie's calm gaze met the Empress's fiery gaze. Frederique knew what the Cardinal meant when she said that she personally confirmed it. The last record we have of the person touching the holy water is 600 years ago. That noble drank the holy water hoping to get the power of the Pope, but his whole body burnt down. The Almighty God is merciful, the Empress grumbled back in a sarcastic tone. She was a believer, but it had been a long time since she'd stopped loving the Almighty God. Frederique Riester had a feeling that this incident might never truly be resolved. Soup, soup, soup.
Thank you for the hydrate stretch and the vision.
That better be water, mister. It's still one. I've still got 1 minute left of my birthday. Fuck you, I'm drinking Bickers. Let me enjoy my last birthday minute, motherfucker. I'm drinking Bippers and there's nothing you can do about it. Alrighty. Rest well, Nova. Sweet dreams. Chapter 9. Yeah, I'm 30 in a day. Yeet, baby. Alright. Chapter 9. The Empress Palace's number 1 instructor. Part 1. Wow, the Imperial Palace is the size of a city. Ganael laughed at my comment. Apparently, Ganael came to see me with his swollen face the day I regained consciousness and cried again. It was too much for this little guy to have been betrayed by the twins, whom he had thought were his friends, and having me almost die. He looks much better now, 2 days later. Clack, clack. I let the carriage continue to take me as I looked outside. This was the first time I was getting to explore different parts of the Imperial Palace, other than Juliet Paris and the garden. It's 10:40 a.m. I'm relieved that we're able to make it in time. You're right, thanks. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. Those were the times that Cardinal Auriel Boutier told me that she'd be available for a chat. To be honest, I didn't think that she opened up those times up, especially for me. Why would the most respected religious figure in the Empire open her schedule 3 times a week for a simple diplomatic hostage? That was why I just nonchalantly brought it up at breakfast when Benjamin and Ganael dropped their jaws in shock. Your Highness, what did you just say? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. She told me that I can come during those times to ask any questions I may have. Benjamin, Nib, I'll go grab the formal attire. Ganael, contact the attendants of the Romero Palace as well. Let them know that we need a carriage. Yes, sir. I was shocked and said, I mean, it'd be great for me if we could go today. I do have a lot of questions. But when I responded that way, Benjamin said, rather than it'd be great, it is that you must go. Prince Jesse, this is not an option. He then almost glared at me as if he wanted to swear at me. That was what happened not too long ago at around 9 a.m. I would have liked to get another day of rest. I know that it's important to get information from the Cardinal, but I wanted to give myself a moment to empty my head after, almost losing my life. I don't know how strong the mental fortitudes of main characters in web novels are to be able to hit incident after incident and still easily get through them. No, that's not right. They can do that because they're the main character. I'm just an extra, so it makes sense in my mind's not as strong. I consoled myself and told myself that I was doing my best. Good morning, Prince Jesse. Welcome to the Empress Palace. Hello, sir. I arrived at the bottom of the stairs up to the Empress Palace as I had those thoughts. An attendant who seemed to have a pretty high position was waiting for us at the entrance. That was when I realized that the Cardinal's statement was not an open offer. I'm believe this is your first time at the Empress Palace. I will personally escort you to Her Eminence, Cardinal Boutier's office. Thank you very much. I immediately followed behind the attendant, with Benjamin and Ganile walking behind me. The official name of the Empress Palace was the Seigneur Palace, but nobody called it that, and everyone just called it the Empress Palace. I didn't think much of it when Benjamin told me about it, but now I can understand why. Basically, no other word can express the overwhelming scale and splendor of this building. The ceilings seemed to be at least 30 meters tall, and the pillars, wall art, and decorations were all huge. The sleek marble floor connected from corner to corner and glimmered in the light with not a single speck of dirt visible. If Juliet Palace was a business hotel, the Empress Palace was a 7-star hotel that cost you 40 million won per night. This way, Your Highness. We walked up to the second floor, and the attendants working at the Empress Palace saw me and quietly bowed as they walked past. Most of them seemed to spend a long time looking into my eyes. I guess purple pupils are rare for people. Your Eminence, Prince Jesse Venetian has arrived. Come in. I heard a warm voice respond once the attendant knocked in front of a large mahogany door. Benjamin said that they'd wait outside and took a step back. Please enjoy your time, Your Highness. Ganile clenched both of his fists and whispered to me. I wish it would have been enjoyable.
No, please wait. Your activation is too slow. You need to grasp the flow of ether inside your body.
Bang! This is already the 4th time. I rolled my body over to get up from the ground. The Cardinal's grand circle, her holy domain, had pushed me back until the door, and I barely had enough room to stand up. Wasn't this time to chat? How did it become training time without any protective equipment?
Oh, you still have time to think about other things? I'm sorry.
I quickly snapped out of my thoughts. I started running towards the center of the room the moment she shrank the size of her holy domain. It was to the spot with the symbol of the Church of the Almighty God, the downward arrow. I did it! I then quickly released my holy domain. It was amazing that I could summon the circle with my will alone without lifting up a prayer or saying a divine oracle. My holy domain looked like a kindergartner's chicken scratches compared to the Cardinal's holy domain that had luxurious patterns on it, but at least it activated. Then protect yourself. Huh? Your Eminence, this is cheating! She maintained her holy domain and started walking towards where I was standing, crashing into my flimsy circle. Golden flames danced together like the flames that come up when welding things together. Please, wait a moment! Resist. I felt something like a migraine, but it felt more like pressure than pain. It felt as if an invisible force was pushing down on my head, saying, go away, step back. I felt myself being pushed back, even though the Cardinal didn't lay a finger on me. Can you feel the flow of divine power? Yes, ma'am. How could I not? That so-called ether inside my body was squirming around my heart as if to resist her strong power. It was different from when I stopped the assassin twins. Forget detecting the existence of the ether, I just left things to luck and was busy shouting things that day. But I could tell for sure now. I could tell what was causing this warm feeling that was as good as being on an electric pad in the winter. It felt like a liquid, but also like a gas. Tightly grab onto it. Excuse me? I made eye contact with Cardinal Boutier. Her magenta hair was flowing down over one shoulder, and she had a mitre on her head that looked as sharp as a fish head, and she looked as relaxed as she did the first time I met her. Twist its damn neck and imagine that it is under your control. I gulped, because even though her beige-coloured eyes curled up as if she was smiling, the words she said were pretty scary and coarse. I still had to do as she ordered. I believed the Cardinal was trying to teach me something right now. Although her choice of words sounded crass, I started suppressing my ether. Good, just like that. Well, to be more specific, I imagined myself suppressing my ether. I guess I kind of imagined as a sashimi knife striking down on a flopping flounder. Is this what they call image training? Good. Try to hold on for 10 seconds. 1, 2... Her holy domain started pushing against my holy domain again as soon as she started counting. Shh! Golden flames burst up again. The round border of my circle felt as if it would break at any moment.
5, 6.
10 seconds felt like forever. I could feel sweat pouring down my forehead. I tried my best to channel my ether to the bottom of my feet. That seemed to be the only solution to maintaining this position longer.
9, 10.
Both holy domains disappeared as soon as she finished her counting. My holy domain evaporated instantly like a light turning off, while the cardinal's holy domain slowly seeped into the ground and gently disappeared. Please let me lay down for a moment. I didn't even wait for her response and plopped down onto the top of the symbol of the Church of the Almighty God at the center of her office.
That is your divine power.
I barely managed to turn my head to look at the cardinal. Her eyes had seemed really cold when she was telling me to tightly grab onto my ether, but she looked like a nice person again.
Civilians and even most priests are unable to differentiate between ether and divine power. Many people even believe that the two are the same.
I see. I had been one of those people. My foundation was weak because I basically learned by skimming through books. I was surprised that she understood the things I'd said until now, despite my using the two interchangeably.
If ether is the blessing from God, divine power is the ability to control it. It allows you to use it as you please and give it orders.
My head nodded on its own. It was easy to understand after experiencing it with my own body.
The total amount of ether that is stored in a person's soul or plate is determined at birth, but that is not the case for divine power. It will continue to get stronger if you work hard in your training and circulate it frequently without being lazy.
Huh. She's very good at teaching. I was thinking that she was amazing as I slowly sat up. I took some deep breaths and noticed my fluctuating ether slowly start to calm down. Thank you for your wise words, Your Eminence. But
because I told you that I would answer your questions.
that was the perfect response, as if she'd anticipated my question of, why are you teaching me these things? She smiled brightly before returning to a chair and sitting down. Unlike the area around me that had turned into a mess, the large desk and giant pile of documents looked as if nothing had happened.
I did say that ether is something a person is born with, but I know that your ether is an exception. I thought it would be obvious that you'd be curious about a power that suddenly seemed to appear out of nowhere. Was I wrong?
No, ma'am. You were right. I lightly brushed off my crumpled clothes and sat down on the couch she pointed at.
No matter how much ether a person has, it is useless if they don't have enough divine power to control it. On the other hand, a person who has powerful divine power can use their meticulous control to activate a lot of things, even if they were born with a low amount of ether.
Her explanations were easy to understand. She stopped talking for a moment before continuing in a serious tone.
During our negotiations for diplomatic hostage, the representatives of the Holy Kingdom indicated that you were just a bishop in name. They said that you would not be a threat to anybody because you grew up without receiving any proper priest education. That was why Her Majesty and I thought that that was the case as well. But you were able to defend against a clergy-level priest and a holy knight on your own, and resisted against my power without any training today.
She smiled brightly while saying that I seemed to be a proper bishop-level priest.
Does that mean you see me as a threat? If I wanted to see it that way, I probably could.
She gave me an ambiguous response.
But I believe that you could be of great assistance to not just the Riester Imperial family, but the future of the Empire as well.
Excuse me? My eyes opened wide after hearing such heavy expectations.
You might hope to go back home because you're a diplomatic hostage, but the Holy Kingdom probably doesn't wish for your return now that things are like this.
That is true. I started thinking about Prince Jesse's complicated family tree. Prince Consort Werner probably sent me as a diplomatic hostage that they'd had assassins try to kill me in order to secure his loving daughter, Crown Princess Elise's position. All he wants from me is for me to die outside of the Holy Kingdom. May I ask what you wish from me, Your Eminence?
If the Cardinal wanted to make some sort of deal in return for lecturing me, I needed to think about it. That would be much safer than the Empress considering me as a threat because I was a bishop-level priest. Of course, I would only agree if it had nothing to do with the young lady Christelle, the main character of QNW, or Imperial Prince Cedric.
Well, you are a smart child.
She was looking directly into my eyes.
There is a young child.
A young child?
Yes. And I hope that you can help that child.
I'm probably wrong, but
her gaze felt sort of desperate. Next chapter.
Alright. This next chapter will be the last one for tonight. But like, I have a feeling that like I'm probably gonna keep popping up with random streams with no warning going, we're reading more of this now, haha.
Hi local VTuber watcher, thank you for the follow, I appreciate it.
Welcome, welcome. Alright, on to the last chapter of the evening.
Hi, welcome.
Chapter 10. The Empress Palace's #1 instructor, Part 2. Help a young child. I kind of blanked out since I was thinking something big like hidden hostility in the courts, a fight for power, or purifying the church. But how do you want me to help the child? Of course, I was happy since helping a kid would be much easier than any of those things. I actually have a lot of confidence when it comes to kid-related things. My brother and I basically raised little Yunciel since she was 9 years younger than me. I can say with certainty that my brother and I, although we are both not married, have done everything most parents would do with their kids.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it, VTuber watcher. I actually made my model myself, so that's a huge compliment, thank you.
You must be thirsty. Would you like something to drink? But Cardinal Boutier suddenly changed topics. I focused on her expression since I found it to be odd, but as someone in a high position like a cardinal, she had a great poker face. She looked at me and smiled before calling an attendant to ask for drinks. Here's your coffee, Your Eminence, and a ginger tea for you, Prince Jesse. Thank you very much. The attendant soon brought a steaming tea kettle, teacup, and a coffee cup. It made sense that Benjamin was surprised on the first day, since even the Cardinal drank coffee. He must have told the attendant while waiting outside, as she brought me a drink without any caffeine, even though I didn't say anything. I only had ginger tea with ginger extract at home, but this one tasted like it was made differently. A piece of lemon in there made it taste more refreshing. The attendant then left the room. I debated whether I should bring up that young child again. I cannot tell you anything else right now. I'm sorry. The Cardinal took a sip of coffee before breaking the silence. I guess she didn't plan on just avoiding the topic. Please remember for now that there is a young child who needs your help. It is not something that will bring you harm, I promise. Is the child sick? Something like that. Are you not able to tell me the name or age of the child either? Yes. If you are able to stabilize your power more and we are able to completely trust each other, then I will introduce the child to you. She said that kind of quietly, and I had no choice but to nod my head. It wasn't a bad deal for me. I would get personal tutoring from the Cardinal, which will make my divine power stronger, raising my chances of being able to protect myself. The only thing I needed to do was help out a young child, which shouldn't be problematic since she promised it wouldn't bring me harm. The fact that the Empress might be less wary of me since I was forming a sort of master-student relationship with the Cardinal was a bonus. Ah, right, the Empress. I still have that to discuss. Excuse me, Your Eminence.
What is it?
Her Majesty said that I could make any request, or so I remember hearing.
That's right, I did say that. Did you need something?
I originally didn't need anything, but something came up a few days ago. I heard that I may end up participating in the spring ball, and if possible, I hope that I don't have to attend it.
That is unexpected.
Her eyes opened a bit wider before she laughed. Everybody in the Empire seemed to know my nickname, the Scoundrel of the Holy Kingdom, that they all, regardless of their status, thought that I was extremely social. They all get shocked when I say that I'm not going to do something, and their eyes open wide as of rabbit's eyes when I say that I just want to read books in my room.
Do you have any other plans for that day?
I plan on performing the task I was sent here to do. The main character of this novel, young lady Christelle de Sarnez, will definitely be at the spring ball, and I don't want to run into her. I'll end up dying if I do. I'd rather stay alive. But sadly, I couldn't say all of that to her. Instead, I came as a confessional priest, so I plan on listening to the confessions of the people at the palace. The Cardinal's beige eyes sparkled at my response. She seemed to be amused.
I presume they're all lined up starting from the early morning. I think we will need to issue numbers to people.
Vice Captain Elizabeth stopped moving her knife and put on a serious expression. I jumped in shock while feeding Ganile, who was standing next to me, a piece of sirloin. Do you really think so many people will show up?
Confessing to a regular bishop-level priest is something the commoners will get to do maybe once in their lives. Most temples mainly have clergy-level priests, since the bishops are busy with their political conflict against each other. Some people will even start camping tonight once they hear that Prince Jesse will personally hear their confessions. She finished speaking and used elegant movements to slice her meat. Her short, dark green hair gently shook back and forth. Then it'll probably increase the workload for the Imperial Guards. I'm sorry. No, not at all, Your Highness. We get paid well for our job, and most importantly, Her Eminence the Cardinal is personally supporting your decision.
Vice Captain Elizabeth smiled brightly. This lunch meeting was urgently scheduled so that we can discuss the confessions that would start tomorrow. She added on, saying that
there will be a lot of punks from the Imperial Guards who can go to confess as well.
I quietly smiled and started to eat my third plate of steak. As one of the important characters of QNW, Cardinal Auriel Boutier's influence in the Riester Empire was amazing. The fact that she was the Empire's only cardinal was a big part of it, but the most influential reason with her was her title as the Empress's religious partner. And the partner discussed here is not as spouses, but as friends. The Riester imperial family, especially those who are close to the throne, must have a political partner or a religious partner. The political partners are solidified through marriage, while the religious partners, what did they call it, are through some kind of contract. Based on the information I skimmed through, the former was like an arranged marriage for political gain, while the latter was more of a finding your soul's other half, soulmate kind of deal. And as people who share souls, the Cardinal knows what the Empress knows, and the Empress does not know anything that the Cardinal does not know. The Cardinal's opinion was involved in anything the Empress did, and the Empress pretty much gives consent for what the Cardinal does. So basically, the reason I get to be a confessional priest is because of the Cardinal's support and the Empress's approval.
Hi 9942, thank you for the follow, I appreciate it, and welcome.
I was full of energy to do my job since I officially got permission not to attend the ball.
The reason Her Eminence the Cardinal is supporting you is probably because she's been a confessional priestess as well.
Is that so? I responded to Vice Captain Elizabeth as I sliced another piece of meat and put it into Ganile's mouth. Benjamin was frowning at me, but I ignored him. Seeing him eating so well reminded me of Yun Xiao for a moment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most of the Imperial Palace priests sit around doing nothing. They're all assigned here to help the religious life of the Imperial family, but only a few members of the Imperial family reside in the Imperial Palace, and even less want to share their inner thoughts with an unfamiliar priest. But her Eminence entered as a confessional priestess when she was younger and went to the temple every single day to wait for anybody who wished to confess.
Even on the days nobody showed up?
That's correct. That was how she met Her Majesty and developed their friendship.
Wow, what an amazing story. She could have had a cushy job doing nothing, but she chose to sincerely do her job, and it led her to becoming lifelong partners with the future Empress. This kind of thing could only happen in a novel. Well, I guess this is a novel.
It probably reminded her of that time. She may have recalled her younger days while looking at you, Your Highness.
I guess that's possible.
Furthermore, you said that you take confessions regardless of a person's status. Yes, Her Eminence seemed interested in people's reactions and the results as well. Your Highness.
Your Highness, it is not proper etiquette to feed your attendant food. Benjamin couldn't hold back anymore and cut into our conversation. I stopped moving the fork in my hand. I was still able to say something, though. Mr. Benjamin, you said that you have lunch at 3 p.m. It's not right to starve a growing boy until 3 p.m. Attendants are used to this way of life. Your actions can negatively influence Gnile's body and mind in the long run, Your Highness. Okay then, I promise this is the last bite. I smiled brightly and moved the fork again. Gnile peeked warily at Benjamin, but still took the last bite of food from me. Vice Captain Elizabeth laughed out loud as she watched.
You have a good master, Gnile. Please don't make fun of me, Vice Captain Mute.
Gnile's face turned red, and he quickly mumbled to Vice Captain Elizabeth.
Do the two of them know each other? Then, should we open the confessional starting from the morning? Her clear voice made me forget about the random thoughts in my head. I explained my plan to Vice Captain Elizabeth. Yes, let's do it from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. I can't stay in the temple all day, so I plan on splitting it into 3 segments a day. I think you'll be too tired, Your Highness. You also need to consider the travel time to the temple and back. How about reducing it to twice a day? I'll think about it. This was something that Benjamin already brought up to me. I'd rather just do it twice a day as well, but I hesitated to do as I pleased because I learned that many people were still waiting for me. I can't do the morning sessions on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays since I will be learning with the Cardinal anyway, and chatting with people I don't know was one of those things I had the least amount of confidence in, but I felt pretty good about just listening to people.
We will do as you wish for now, Your Highness, but please do change the times or number of sessions a day if you feel that it is too much in the future.
Benjamin gave a great solution. Vice Captain Elizabeth agreed with him as she picked up her wine glass, and the grape juice that was in there instead of wine swirled around as she picked it up.
Yep. Third Wheel Strikes Back is so good.
It's like the Red Pandas, I think, come in around chapter 15 to 20, around that range. But like once they come in, they never ever leave. He's currently feeding his attendant. Basically, Jesse's a 28-year-old, like mum vibe kind of guy, and his attendant is a 16-year-old. So he's like, here's some food for the child. Growing boy needs his food. He's basically going mum mode on the kid. What greeted me the next morning was a long line that was about 100 meters long from the temple entrance. Vice Captain Elizabeth had not been joking. People in line were holding small pieces of paper and raising their voices with excited expressions on their faces. Are those really numbers?
Oh my god, it's His Highness! Prince Jesse is really here!
What? Where? I can't see.
Please don't shh! We greet His Highness, the first Prince of the Holy Kingdom!
Hello, everyone. Didn't expect so many of you. I awkwardly greeted them and the people who had gathered here from all corners of the palace, either covered their mouths with their hands or bowed to me over and over without knowing what to do. It made me feel embarrassed and awkward. I walked over to some of the older individuals with their hands reached out while wondering whether I should shake their hands, but the Imperial Guards quickly came over and stopped me. I guess they saw signs of the line turning chaotic and some of them used their arms to push people back.
Your Highness, please follow me.
Your Highness, please follow me.
Yes, ma'am. Vice Captain Elizabeth, who came in the carriage with me, guided me in a reliable voice. Benjamin Gnile and I quickly followed behind her. Knights wearing armor opened the heavy doors, revealing the inside of the temple to me. The chatters of the people behind me were no longer on my mind. Wow. This was my first time at a temple since entering up in the world. I quit my job and ended up as a noble young lady in another world. I quickly looked around as everything looked so amazing. I felt like I'd seen a similar place before, and that's probably because the author is someone from Earth as well.
The outside looked like a temple from Greek mythologies, while the inside looked like a large cathedral. The main differences were that the ceiling was flat and that there were lattice patterns on the windows, making the inside of the temple look quite magical, instead of the stained glass you'd normally find at a cathedral.
The confessional's over here.
Vice Captain Elizabeth pointed towards the inner corner of the temple. I clenched my fists and started walking. End of chapter 10. Alright, since it's about 12:30 a.m. and I am an old crunchy boomer, I think here's probably a good place to call it tonight. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are enjoying the story so far, because this story is just very good, and Jesse's such a good boy, isn't he? He's so sweet. He's such a good boy. He's the goodest of boys. I know, right? That is amazing. Danke. But yeah, so my next locked-in stream, because like I'm doing like a weird hybrid way of doing things. I'm currently in my like YOLO swag era of like I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just running at the wall and screaming experiments. One could say I've entered a midlife crisis. No, but basically, next week, my next locked-in stream is on the 12th of February at 8 p.m. Aussie time. If you join the Discord, I've actually set it up so that it will show up as the date and time in your time zone. I'm using like those Discord timestamps because modern technology, baby. So if you want to see what time it is for you, it will be clearer in the Discord. Otherwise, it's 8 p.m. ADT, well, between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. ADT on the 12th of February. What day is that? Because time's an illusion, and my brain cell doesn't use it. That's Wednesday. All right, so that's next Wednesday. I might stream before then. I don't know. Tonight's stream wasn't planned in the slightest, and I'm having a lot of fun just reading my favorite novel at you guys, because Jesse's so good and puresome and whole, and he's a good boy, and he's... Come on. Like, I'm pretty sure I still got a picture on my computer for reference. Do I still have... I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I should have one from last night. Okay, so to like really give a visual, you see this wholesome blonde boy over there? That is Jesse. For anyone who hasn't seen him before, that is Jesse. That's our main character there. He's the soft blonde boy in the front. And Christelle is the pink-haired girl, and Cedric is the black-haired dude. So that's for like context, for some sweet visual context. Though, trust me, you'll be hearing a lot about Cedric's appearance specifically as the story goes on. Looks very intensely at Jesse and his thoughts, his fucking thoughts. Just good gods. So I could talk for literal days of just like how much I want to shake that poor person. Hi, Carmen Ryder. How are you? Welcome. Yeah, just, oh my god, just wait, like... I mean, y'all even got a minor taste of it. He hears his voice and it's like, wow, that's a really nice voice. Man, I wonder who owns that voice. Goes back to sleep. But that was tame, don't worry, that was tame. Yeah, so this will be where I will be ending it tonight, so I can get ready for bed and pass the fuck out and accept the fact that I'm now old. Oh, 100% Rose, 100%. Alright,
now. Oh my god. Yeah, just like in just a Discord VC, it's like, welcome to community night. Tonight we're going to rant about Jesse and Cedric's bullshit. Let's go. Yes. In that case, I hope. Let me actually like pop over. Oh yeah, and one thing I was meaning to ask as well before I like completely forget. How like this is my first time using this model with just using the webcam. Was it fine? Like was it fine? Like like in comparison to how my model usually is, was it fine? Because I'll be honest, this is way easier. And I don't need the lip sync to work perfectly, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Okay, cool. Alright, I didn't look like a dead fish the whole time, did I? Thank you for the hydrate. I appreciate it. Thank you. And the stretch, dunk. Gonna have a big full body stretch. Alright, so easy. Because like what I might start doing is like I might start like just using this version. Because what I did is for like context, I think I yapped about it a bit in the beginning stream. I took my model, like, because like this model here, I actually built it to work specifically with VBridger. So it's got, you know, the VBridger mouth and blah, 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 blah. So up until now, I've been exclusively using my phone to track my model. And I'd never actually tried setting it up in a way that it would work with the computer, because like I think I tried it once and it just looked so shit. But like I really fiddled with it today before I went out to the show. And it was like, okay, you know, this. Let's give it a spare. Let's give it a real shot. And I'm glad that, like, it's not like egregious or anything. That's good, because this is way easier. Because then I just have to open VTube Studio, and that's it. And then I could save VBridger for when I actually need lip syncing. Now my phone is free to take pics of the meows on stream. Oh my god. Because it's like if I can get away with this, being able to use my webcam for tracking, oh, that would make shit so much easier. Especially if I do hand cam shit, that would be so much easier. Thank you for being my unintentional guinea pigs. Maybe, yeah, probably. Like I know, like it's like I think it might be like ironically because the tracking is like less precise, the eyes are like more snappy, because it's like it can't like see like the minutia, I guess, where VBridger like picks up on more minute expressions. It is letting me wink though. I'm gonna do the Christelle thing, double wink. One major downside though is I cannot use my lean with webcam. That's like the one thing that's like, fuck, I can't use my sick lean. But like, if that means I'm not gonna be like, I don't want to set everything up, then like that's worth the sacrifice. I'll keep VBridger for special occasions. But yeah, that's like the one catch. I can't use the lean toggle because it doesn't track how close I am to the camera. And it's like, no, best I can like set it to just a random point in the lean and that's it. I always have a VBridger sob. But though, that means that when I do want to set up with all that, I can just go ahead and do it. But yeah. Thank you for like letting me grill you about that. Alright, now. Wow. But yes, now let us find somebody to invade. Let's see. Let's go with this person. He's doing some He's doing art of a character from Epic. In honor of Peony and the very fun game that she made for us all last night. Let's go with this one. Yes. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I've had a wonderful time hanging out with each and every one of you. And I'm glad that you basically just let me, like, vomit you. I'll have you know, Ghosty, you have to put flesh tube or flesh tuber. Bitch! Flesh tube or flesh tuber. Thank you very much. Yes. Alright, let's set up this raid. There we go. But yes, I hope you all have a magnificent evening, morning, noon, or night. I will see you either next Wednesday or earlier if I just, like, can't hold myself back from being like, okay, we're continuing the novel now. Blah. And I will release the VOD quite quickly after as well. Yes. May you all have an amazing evening, morning, or night. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for allowing me to vomit my hyperfocus in your general direction. And I look forward to doing it again in the future. Good night. And I will now sulk because it's not my birthday anymore, so it means I can't be the ultimate king of awesome. I now just have to be a normal old dude. Damn it. Night night.